Hey everyone, Decav13 here, and welcome back to some more Let's Play Fate Stay Night. Actually, the finale of Fate Stay Night, because today is the final day of the Heaven's Feel route, which means we're all wrapped up. I was gonna say this at the end, but as for the Tiger Dojos, I think I'm gonna watch those on my own. Because I know it was recommended to me by people that I watch them, but I think I'll just do that on my own. Yeah, for now, this will be should be the last video here for Stay Night, at least. So we're gonna go into this final day, day 16 of Heaven's Feel. Let us see what the end of the road has for us. Who will be saved? What will happen next? Final. It is an altar enshrining the stars. Fire blazes as if to connect heaven and earth. Flickering flames illuminate the dark cave, searing the canopy above. But this is no godly shrine. The sky it connects to is deep underground, and the burning torch is black, not red. The air is murky, the wind stagnant, and the water oozing down the walls is the color of poison. This underground kingdom is said to have been the lair of a dragon. In fact, it is modeled after the stomach of a dragon. None who visit this place are human. Those who seek salvation in this worldly realm, who rejoice in this bizarre sight, must only be the sort of demons who flee the light of the sun. A skull-masked face chokes in the midst of the realm. Lit by dark crimson, he is the servant assassin who lost his master to Kirei Kotomine. The white skull creeps along a wall. Ahead of him stands a girl. Dressed in black curses, she stares absently at the approaching skull. He stops 5 or 6 meters from the girl. Stuck to a wall like a spider, Assassin calls out into the void. What do you mean he's still here? Finally, someone answers. The old mage's voice rings out in the void. The old man should have been eliminated by Kirei, but here he is, alive and well. It is only logical. The Zouken Matou, which was crushed in the forest, was no more than a swarm of worms. Damn it. His real body, which anchors his soul to the world, sleeps elsewhere in a safe location. Even the priest's holy words cannot destroy the old mage, as long as the insects that comprise his real body remain intact.
Sakura, アサシンと契約を結べ。まさかを失った今、新しい護衛が必要じゃろ。
The old mage intones an order. The black cursed girl, Sakura Matou, doesn't respond. She ignores the absolute authority of the old man and continues staring out into space with lightless eyes.
何をしておる、Sakura。わしの言葉が聞けぬというのか。
A threatening current runs beneath his irritated tone. The old man is slightly on edge. He is angry at the girl's ineptitude for losing Berserker and letting Illya's feel slip away.
Sakura, もう一度言うぞ。わしの言葉が聞けぬというのか。
Cold contempt. The girl has never defied the old man when he speaks like that. Not out of fear, but because his dominance is absolute. She does fear him, of course. But she is literally unable to defy him. Reason being, her heart is... The old man's irritation vanishes. He returns to calm silence. In this dark crimson pit, there is a sound of a slithering worm.
どうやらそのようじゃな。 しばらくは持つかと思うたが、幕引きはあっけなかったの。
The old mage sounds both disappointed and utterly enthused. The girl doesn't answer. Her mind has been swallowed by the darkness.
では予定通りその娘を。
人聞きの悪い、予定通りなどではないぞ。あくまで仕方なくじゃ。マトウ・サクラの理性は消えてしまった。このままではあの化け物を制御する者がいなくなってしまう。故に非道と知りながらも空洞になった孫娘を食らおうというのではないか。
Yeah, like you didn't want this from the beginning. He snickers. The laughter comes from the girl's throat. The old mage is laughing using the empty Sakura's vocal cords.
では急ぎ行っていただけぬかな。私の体は消えかけている。そう。
では始めるとするか。いやはや実に残念だぞ、さくら。ここまであれを育てたお主じゃ。せめて聖杯を手に入れる栄光は譲りたかったのだが、仕方あるまい。恨むのなら己を恨め。儀式が間に合わなかったわ。イリアスフィールを逃したお前の落ち度よ。
A crunching sound. A worm wriggles its way into the girl's neck. It can't be seen. There is no worm crawling under her skin. Not from the outside. There was never any escape for the girl, not from the twisted thoughts nestled against her heart. Zouken Matou, insect user. His real body, the host for his decaying soul, is the pseudo-nerves innervating Sakura Matou's heart.
体はまだ変わりきっていないが、何贅沢は言わん。その肉体、消えた主に代わってわしが引き継いでやる。さらばだ、さくら。実験作の身でよくぞ耐え抜き、よくぞわしを楽しませた。
There's a slippery sound of wriggling blood vessels. Zouken Matou's rotten spiritual body orders his worm to eat the girl's brain. But...
その必要はありません、おじいさま。私は大丈夫です。
The girl places a hand on her chest and opens her eyes.
おう、飲まれてしまったかと思うたが、まだ踏みとどまっておったが。ではさくら、ちと事情が変わってな。わしではアサシンを維持できなくなった。少しばかり負担をかけるが、わしの代わりにアサシンと契約するがよい。
The old mage issues a command as he always does. However, the girl shakes her head in denial.
何のつもりかな、さくら。
ですから言ったでしょ、おじいさま。その必要はありませんと。
Her icy voice rings in the gloom. Suddenly, the white skull on the wall is swallowed by something dark and enormous.
何？
Their astonishment comes too late. Assassin's entire body is compressed in a single attack, leaving only his mask intact. The mask falls. Beneath the white mask, where his face should be, is only another skull.
なんだ。どんな顔をしてるかと思えば、もともと顔がない人だったんですね。あなたは顔を隠していたんじゃなくて、素顔を隠すことで顔があると思わせているだけのつまらない人だった。
小娘、きさ。
顔をなくして名前も捨てて、それでも永遠を求めたなんて。けど残念。永遠を求めるなら、おじいさまのようにこれからも生き続けることを望まないと。いくら聖杯でも過去に戻ってあなたの名前を取り戻すなんてことはできないんだから。消えなさい、山の主。あなたは何者でもない一人の暗殺者。ただ一人のハサンになどなれないわ。
So yeah, there it is, Hassan. You know, I was kind of surprised. Before I started recording, I went into the gallery, and I looked under Assassin, and it actually had Hassani Sabah as the true name, despite having not learned it yet. So that was interesting. Well, bye, Assassin. The shadows swallow his death cry. The skull-masked assassin is devoured without a trace.
貴様正気か？何をするのだこのバカ者め。
The old man's confusion borders on madness. Is he shocked by the sudden development or being driven mad by indescribable terror? The girl laughs at the old man who used to control her.
だってあの人二度も先輩に手を挙げたでしょ。だから殺しました。だって先輩を傷つけていいのは私だけなんだから。
な。
それにおじいさまはもう彼に守られなくてもいいんです。なら彼には暇をあげないとかわいそう。
Then there is a wet sound. The girl plunges her fingers into her own body, tearing out the worm burrowed deep inside, in an act of psychic surgery. What to call this terror, this confusion? The girl gouges out her own body, tearing her own nerves to shreds, all while giggling coolly.
何をするSakura?
So that's his soul, huh? He wriggles. With lightless eyes, the girl examines the thing that is her grandfather, the thing calling itself her grandfather, the thing that seems to have been her grandfather.
なんだ。やってみたら簡単なんですね。私、おじいさまはもっと大きいかと思っていました。
In fact, the worm serving as Zouken Mato's main body was not always this diminutive. The old mage changed his host to a more suitable worm in order to parasitize the girl's heart. To do that, it needed to be smaller than a heart. In retrospect, his eccentric taste turned out to be his downfall.
Sakura, yomo ya.
あの神父さんには感謝しないといけませんね。あの方がおじいさまを消してくださらなかったら、本当に私が食べられていたところだった。
So that's a reason why he wanted the worms out too. She's seen right through him. No, this was inevitable from the beginning. The old mage never bothered to hide his objective, and the girl could not defy his will. So there was no problem. He only ever treated her as his eventual replacement body. So she only had to wait until it was time to raise the flag of rebellion.
待て。
Oh, cute, you're begging now.
違うぞサクラ。お前に取り付くというのは最後の手段だ。お前の意識があるのなら門は全てお前に与える。わしはマトウの血統が栄えればそれでよい。お前が勝者となり全てを手に入れるのならばそれでよいのだサクラ。
The worm wriggles. She gently smiles at the filthy creature between her fingers.
それではなおさらですね。だってもうおじいさまの手はいりません。あとは私だけでも門を開けることはできますから。
Something inconceivable is happening. The old mage made only one mistake.
待つのだ。待ってくれサクラ。わしはお前のことを思ってやってきたのだぞ。
Shut the fuck up.
それを恩をあだで返すような真似を。
さようならおじいさま。200年も地の底でうごめいていたのは疲れたさあ。もうお消えになっても結構です。
The old man raised the girl too well. He failed to notice the darkness within her and mistook it for purity. Only the girl remains at the altar. The flickering black blaze delights in the girl's independence, a personification of itself. The dark girl looks at the blood slicking her hand. She stands there emptily, like a puppet with its strings cut, her laugh echoing on and on. Well, Zouken and Assassin are dead, so that's cool. So that means we really only have 2 enemies left. Just Dark Sakura and Saber Alter. Nobody comes out to greet us. Ryudo Temple looms over us like a giant hunched in the darkness. I feel some strange power from it. Is the wind blowing up in the sky? I crane my neck to listen and hear howling wind.
階段の上に力を感じます。境内の裏手にある池に何らかの場が作られているようですが。
いいえ、そっちに用はないわ。上で作られてる場は表向きのただ聖杯を欲しがるマスター用のもんよ。聖杯戦争の大元に行こうって言うんなら上じゃなくて下に行かないとね。
Tohsaka walks away from the stairs and into the forest.
ライダー、大丈夫か？竜道寺は結界が張ってあるんだろ？サーバントは正門からしか山に入れないって聞いたけど。
多少の重圧はありますが耐えられるレベルです。それに中に入りさえすればこの土地はサーバントにとって最適な霊脈です。大気に満ちたマナを吸い上げれば回復はたやすい。
そうか、辛いだろうが少しの間我慢してくれ。
We push our way through the trees, walking through the night. There aren't even any game trails out here, and we mostly have to drop down the small cliffs and rock walls.
イリアの話じゃこの辺りなんだけど、シロ、入り口らしきもの見当たらない？
らしきものってなんだよ。
岩肌に人が入れそうな亀裂があるとか、あからさまに怪しい社とかよ。一応入り口なんだからまさか落とし穴ってわけでもないでしょ。
無茶言うな。星が出てるからって夜の森で周りが見通せるかって。
Oh, I can see pretty well, actually. There are withered trees all around us. Maybe we're behind Ryudo Temple now. Of course, there are no man-made buildings in sight. All I see are the dead trees and a bubbling brook.
小川？
Wait. That means the water must be coming from somewhere.
ライダー、あの小川の先、岩が固まってるよな。真っ暗でよく見えないけど、あれ、もしかして横穴になってないか？
シロ、振り向かないように。
I hear a small metallic sound like a clasp being undone. Oh, right. Ryder must have taken off her blindfold.
ありますね。天然の洞穴ですが、人間が入れないこともない。ここからでは1メートルほどで行き止まっているように見えますが、魔術による偽装が感じられます。
Looks like that's our entrance.
そっか、助かる。トサカ、それらしいものあったみたいだ。
I call out to Tohsaka and head down the stream. It turned out to be only a spring rather than a river. It's flowing from several piles of rocks, and we finally come across an opening that one person can fit through. The rocks remind me of igloos. One could tell at a glance that you'd hit a rock as soon as you step inside, and no sane person would even think of entering.
当たり。この岩簡単にすり抜けるわ。
Tohsaka goes inside without looking back.
先にどうぞ。後ろは私が守ります。
I nod at Ryder and venture into the darkness. I make scraping sounds on the stone. I feel my way forward with my hands on the wet ground. The ground begins to slope dramatically. It's tight and claustrophobic in the darkness. I'll tumble down into infinite darkness unless I slowly go down on my back. In the dark, I make a slow descent sprawled on the angled rock. The way ahead is dark and I can't tell how far down this goes. I can only hear my breathing.
シロ、今のうちに聞いておく。
Then, Tohsaka suddenly talks to me from ahead.
いいけど、なんだ？
宝石剣、なんで作ってくれたの？
Her tone is bored, like she's making small talk to kill time because she's tired of climbing down.
なんでって、なんでさ。
だから、私はサクラを殺すって言ってるのよ。そんな私に武器を預けていいのかってこと。
I nod in the dark. Tohsaka's right, of course.
よくない。よくないけど、トーサカがいないとサクラは助けられない。サクラを助けたいんなら、一人より二人の方が確実だろ。それに、剣を投影するのは約束だった。俺はトーサカとの約束を果たせなかった。だから、もう一つの約束だけはきちんと守りたかったんだ。
It was quite a while ago. After I lost Saber, I asked Tohsaka for help. She helped me and I made her a promise. I would make her win. I promised to make Tohsaka the victor of the Holy Grail War. I can't keep that promise anymore, so I want to at least keep my other promise. At that time, for in Tohsaka, the girl I liked at the time, who believed in me when I had nothing left.
そう。律儀ね、あなた。
ああ、遠坂ほどじゃないけどな。
The darkness goes still again. Our conversation ends there. We don't look at each other. We just stoically descend into the infernal depths. Our long path seems to take us through the underworld itself. It's a winding path and my body feels like it's walked more than 100 meters. We turn to find ourselves facing a dark cavern. The one-man path becomes an ever deeper passage. We don't need any illumination. Some sort of luminescent moss suffuses the cavern with a green glow. The passage teems with life energy. It feels so raw. It's an air of birthing, filled with vitality that seems to celebrate life. Abundant ode and flowing mana, as far as the eye can see. It's so raw that it makes me feel nauseous. Why am I yawning so much? The warmth of radiant life is so filthy I want to turn away from it. I have nothing to say. This is a land of death. Talking to Tohsaka would lower my guard enough to get me killed.
行くわよ。ここからは自分の命を優先して。
Tohsaka goes deeper down the passage towards the source of the dark air. Ryder and I move forward, keeping an eye on our surroundings. I see something red on the ground. These are unmistakably bloodstains. The blood splatter continues into the cave. Did someone get here before us? Were they wounded so badly that they bled everywhere that they walked?
シロ、
すまない、すぐ行く。
I'm guessing that's just Zouken's blood then. I shake off the premonitions and keep walking. I can't afford to worry about anyone else now. Oh wait, or no, is that Kotomine? If I lose focus, my mind will shut off. Worrying about extra things could erase me entirely. I grip the pendant tightly in my right hand. I use the pain to remind myself who I am and step into the verdant dark. Yeah, because Zouken, I think, no, he was just a head, or no, he was just a worm. A tepid breeze caresses my cheeks. We come to the end of the passage, which opens into a larger cavern. It's as wide as the school grounds. I can't see the ceiling in the murk, but it should be as high as 10 meters. There are no signs of life. The forgotten underground wasteland reminds me of the pictures on of the moon's surface I saw in books long ago. There stands Saber waiting for us. She's the only one in the cave. I don't see Sakura, Zouken, or Assassin. Only the darkened swordsman blocks our path.
Saber.
She wouldn't have anything to say to me. Of course not. Saber's only job is to eliminate intruders. She's the gatekeeper and executioner here. She's the strongest servant protecting Sakura, and she could take us both alone.
話し合いで通してくれるって雰囲気じゃなさそうね。
Tohsaka arms herself with a jeweled sword she kept behind her waist, keeping her stance low. She intends to attack from the front. I don't know what powers that sword has, but she seems to think it'll work in a clash against Saber. But it won't go well. I know Saber, so there are ways to deal with her. We shouldn't reveal our only secret weapon while Zouken and Assassin could still be waiting.
遠坂待て、セイバーは。
リン、私にはあなたと争う理由はない。くれぐれも間違いで私に剣を向けないように。あなたをここで殺してしまっては、さくらの命令に背いてしまう。
Saber's quiet voice is the same as ever. It stops Rin in her tracks. Tohsaka and I both know what that means.
どういうつもり？ あなたはここの門番よね、セイバー。
はい。相手が何者であれ、ここを通る者は消去する。それが桜の命令です。ですが
私は例外。桜の方から会いたがってるってわけ？
She wants to kill you herself, I think. Saber nods wordlessly.
そう。本気なんだ、桜。
She murmurs briefly. After a big sigh, Tohsaka walks towards Saber.
遠坂。
悪いわね。そういうわけだから先に行かせてもらうわ。
Tohsaka boldly walks past Saber. Just before she blends into the dark.
シロ、あんたがどうなるかは知らないけど、私は信頼してるんだから、ちゃんと期待に応えてよね。
Hold on. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do with that vague statement. Not that my brain is working very well right now.
だから、蹴りがついた後に来られて文句言われるのも迷惑だってこと。その、桜を助けたいって言うなら、あんまり遅くならないようにね。
Tohsaka's long hair whips through the air, and she disappears into the depths of the cave without looking back. Thanks, Tohsaka. That boosted my spirits. In other words, telling me to come back before she settles the score with Sakura was her roundabout way of cheering me on.
それは不可能です。あなたはここで死ぬのですから、シロ。
Saber's bloodlust swells. Tohsaka's gone, leaving only me. I suppose that in this situation, Saber doesn't need to hide her hostility anymore.
殺すとは聞き捨てなりませんね。あなたが手にかけるのはこの道を通る者のみ。彼がこの場にとどまるのなら、あなたに襲われることはないはずですが。とどまるのならばそうしよう。だがその男はどうあっても先に進む。私には勝てないと理解していながら先に進むしかない。違いますか、ライダー。そう。先に仕えていたのはあなただったわね、セイバー。彼の性格知っていて当然ということ。
Saber narrows her eyes. She holds a black-dyed sacred sword in her hands. She's coming. Me or Ryder. If either of us takes so much as a step forward, Saber will rush in to cut us down with a single blow.
セイバー、どうあっても引かないんだな。
くどい。それが私の役割と言った。
I grasp the holy shroud covering my left arm. Saber doesn't show a hint of doubt. We're enemies now. That's the undeniable truth that I saw for myself in the forest that night. And I answer.
そうか。なら、ここでお前を消滅させる。
I have to accept it.
俺は桜を助ける。そのために、お前は邪魔だ。
Saber isn't my only enemy. I still need to deal with Assassin and Zouken, who's responsible for all of this. I can't let this take up any more of our time.
シロ、あなたは後ろに。指示通り、セイバーの相手は私がします。
Ryder pushes me behind her while removing her blindfold. Saber raises her sword. The tip of her sword is already keenly focused on Ryder.
バカ言うな。二人がかりでやるって言っただろう。ライダーじゃセイバーには。
倒せないまでも押しとどめることはできる。幸いセイバーは魔眼よけの特性を持っていません。魔力で上回る彼女を石化することはできませんが、重圧をかけることはできる。全力でかかれば2分は拮抗できるでしょう。
Ryder's eyes focus on Saber. They can turn everything they see to stone, and they can weaken Saber temporarily.
状況は私が作ります。あなたは動かず、気を逃さぬよう気を配りなさい。
ライダ
ー。では、私の命はあなたに預けます。シロ。
Ryder vanishes. She charges the Dark Knight at extreme speed, raising a gust of wind. Human eyesight can't even perceive Ryder's godlike speed. Saber casually knocks her back.
いいだろう。 まずはあなたが消えろ、ライダー。
An enormous pressure suffuses the cave. The black swordsman smiles coldly and calmly begins to move. I guess we're going over to Rin now. Her field of view expands. As soon as she leaves the darkness, Rin Tohsaka forgets that she's underground. She sees an infinitely high canopy and a black sun. This massive space is no cave. It's a desolate land. It's easily 3 kilometers in diameter. A giant monolith stands in the distance. It is the beginning of this war and the end. Once she climbs that precipice, she should see a giant crater. Therein lies a system that's been operating for 200 years. A dark pillar burns inside the bowl of huge rock containing the giant magic circle called the Greater Grail. The black shadow pulsates. A wave of magical energy leaks out from something within, illuminating the wasteland. According to the Tohsaka archives, it's called the Altar of the Beginning. In its very center lies a circular cloister, a heart world. The Cup of Heaven. Pregnant with immeasurable magical energy, it gives rise to an other world worthy of its name.
あれがアンリマユ。この世すべての悪っていうのは伊達じゃないってことね。
Rin makes a light remark as she walks toward the altar. She's worried about Shiro and Ryder. Her situation isn't much better. The magical energy filling the Greater Grail isn't in a dimension that humans can do anything about. It's an effectively inexhaustible vortex of magical energy. An inexhaustible resource that mages from around the world gather here to use. A human could never use it all up in their lifetime, and even if there was a limit to it, it's still correct to call it inexhaustible.
不可能はないか。確かにあれはあらゆる願いを可能にする聖杯だ。
She can feel her resolve starting to break under the premonition of death numbing her limbs, and the overwhelming disparity in combat strength. But Rin keeps walking, distracting herself with lighthearted quips. At the moment, she's on her guard against Zouken Matou, an assassin. To Rin, Sakura Matou isn't an opponent she needs to be cautious of. She doesn't feel any threat from Sakura, who's lost sight of herself. In the end, Sakura is Zouken's puppet. Her greatest foe is Zouken, no doubt. Any face-off with Sakura will come once the rest of this affair is settled.
おかしい。これじゃ祭壇についちゃうんだけど、私。
Zouken wouldn't have allowed an intruder to come this far. He would have attacked her well before she got this close. But he's nowhere to be seen, and Rin is almost at the altar. She thinks. She considers why Zouken hasn't stopped her, and the fact that she hasn't sensed him or assassin at all. Rin takes her observations and makes a deduction. She wants to deny it, but her mind goes easily to that conclusion. No, she has no choice but to accept it. Because...
嬉しいわ、姉さん。逃げずに来てくれたんですね。
Her deduction is now unmistakable fact. She looks up. On top of the high cliff in front of a black sun, Sakura Matou welcomes her sister. Rin takes a slight step back, overwhelmed by Sakura's sheer gravity. Her transformation is more than anything Rin expected. Aang Ramayu is a servant with no definite form. It's nothing more than a shadow incarnated by human wishes, modeled after human fantasies. Thus, its power is granted to the host and master who will give birth to it. At this very moment, Sakura Matou is Aang Ramayu. She now serves the function of taking the curse of all the evil in the world, giving it direction and spilling it into the world.
参った。綺麗がいたら神の代行者とか言うんだろうな。
Looking up at Sakura, who has become endless magical energy, Rin unseals the jeweled sword. But is this something she could even fight? Weapons which support magecraft and mystic codes which support rituals are broadly divided into two categories. The first type are amplifying functions. These are backup fuel sources that amplify or replenish a mage's energy, or enhance their magecraft. They are treated as orthodox support mysticodes, and any mage owns at least one. Rin's jewels fall into this category. The second type are limited functions. Special magical implements, where the weapon is magecraft itself. They are powered by a mage's magical energy, which enact a predefined mystic. Their greatest advantage is that a user can execute magecraft that they personally can't perform, as long as they have magical energy. Limited functions may not be versatile and restricted to a single purpose, but they have accordingly powerful effects. For example, a spear which always pierces the heart, a bridle which can control a divine beast, or a dagger that cancels out all magical effects. Most noble phantasms are classified as limited functions. And which type does Rin's jeweled sword fall into? It is an amplifying function which grants its user magical energy, or a limited function which defeats the enemy with a unique ability. Still, no matter what it is, she doesn't feel like it'll work against Sakura. There is an overwhelming disparity in power. Sakura could probably blow away any magecraft without even trying.
どうしました姉さん、そんなに怯えて。今さら臆病風に吹かれたなんて言わないでくださいね。言うじゃない。そういうあんたこそいつもそばにいる保護者はどうしたのよ。弱虫なんだからすぐ近くにいてもらわないと困るんじゃない？
The air freezes. The lukewarm vitality that fills the cave becomes tinged with dark bloodlust. The dark girl bites her lips slightly and sighs.
おじいさまならもういません。邪魔でしたからアサシンと一緒に潰したんです。
She giggles and smiles elegantly. She didn't even need to ask. Sakura killed Zouken. Of course he wouldn't show up. In the very end, the old mage was eaten by his own pet dog.
なるほど。完全に自由になったわけね。良くも悪くも、ゾウケンは今まであんたを縛っていた支配者だった。その抑圧を自分の手で始末して、もう怖いものはないってわけ。いいえ、それがまだなんですよ、姉さん。おじいさまを消したぐらいじゃダメなんです。こんなに強くなって何だってできるようになったの。私はまだ囚われている。もう姉さんなんて取るに足りない存在なのに、姉さんは私の中から消えてくれない。姉さんは私の中で今も懲りずに私をいじめ続けている。だからあなたがいる限り私は自由になんてなれません。
Her voice is light and sing-song, yet heavy and sticky. The contradiction proves that she's insane. In fact, the bloodlust filling the cavern is madness tinged with arrogance and awe.
その割にはご機嫌じゃない。ゾウケンを殺してアサシンも殺して、その分じゃキレイもあんたに殺されたと見るべきね。あれだけ嫌がってたのに大した手際だわ。人殺しにはもう慣れたの？ええ、だって人を潰すのも飲み込むのも変わらないもの。人間は遊んでいないと毎日がつまらなくて意味がないし、飲まないと乾いて苦しいでしょ。ほら、だから同じ。姉さんと変わらない。私は当たり前のようにみんながしていることをするだけです。ちょっと今のへりくつ本気で言ってる？へりくつなんかじゃありません。私は間違ってない。違ったのは強くなったからです。強くなったから今までとはあり方が変わってしまっただけ。私は強くなりました。強くなれば何をしても許されるんじゃないんですか？そう、強くなれば誰にも負けなければ今までのことだって許される。私が私じゃなくなれば 今までしてきたことも全部当たり前の仕方のないことだって言えるはずです。
She screams in a rage. It's the sobbing whine of a child who has nothing else to believe in.
わかりましたか、姉さん。私はそういうものになるんです。だから誰だって殺せます。そんなの私にとっては当たり前のことなんだから。そうで、目につくものなら片っ端から八つ当たりするわけか。けどシロはどうなの？あいつは今でもあんたを助けられると信じてる。それでも関係なくあんたはあいつをやっちゃう気？
The girl's face twitches. Rin's question was the last barrier. Her ecstasy begins to recede. Hearing that the boy is so near at hand, the girl manages to reel in her mind that she'd nearly let go of. Then she smiles gently.
それは先輩だって例外じゃないわ。私が殺してしまいたいのはあの人だけなんです、姉さん。私早く先輩も飲み込んでしまいたい。
Sakura's answer is too late in every sense of the word. Rin grips the jeweled sword, calculating the distance to the enemy above her.
何がアンリマユと差し違えるよ。バカな子だと思ってたけど、ここまでバカとは思わなかったわ。完全に取り込まれてとっくに人間やめてたのね。
The hostility is plain in Rin's voice. As the administrator of these lands, she has identified her sister as evil.
強がりですね。素直になってください、姉さん。こんな強い力を見せられて本当は羨ましがってるんでしょ。嫉妬してるんでしょ。だからわざわざ叶わないって知りながら私を殺しに来たんです。そう、この子を私から取り上げてまた自分だけで幸せになる気なんだ。
Shadow rises. It's a cluster of magical energy unlike any before, a power of absorption rivaling a servant's noble phantasm. And not just one, more rear up, one after another.
渡さない。これは私の力です。姉さんにあげるものは後悔と絶望だけ。それをゆっくりと教えてあげます。
Four shadows tower over them. They reach for the girl below like giant protectors.
力の差を見せてあげますね。姉さん、今度は誰も助けに来ない。湖に落ちた虫みたいにこの私に溺れなさい。
A shadow giant approaches. Rin Tohsaka is swallowed by a massive power that can't be dodged or blocked. Two dark figures clash. One of them is Ryder, who dashes at supersonic speed, unleashing a dizzying flurry of attacks from the ground, the air, front and back, left and right. The way her long hair trails behind her as she streaks back and forth resembles a shooting star. And yet, the shooting star is all too feeble. Ryder's target is the swordsman. Saber takes a firm, assured stance and intercepts Ryder's assault with overwhelming force. It fails to budge her at all. Ryder leaps and strikes from unexpected and wild angles, but Saber just needs to turn and bat her daggers aside. Her riposts steadily break Ryder down. Her firmness and fierceness are like that of a black sun, a giant star that burns any who approach it. Even if it can fly through the air, a shooting star that could blink out at any second could never become a sun, or overcome a sun. Another of Ryder's ambushes fails, and her strength is shaved away. She boasts superhuman speed, but she's being forced back by Saber's counterattacks. In the blink of an eye, she retreats and charges like a dark firework, but she's only barely evading mortal injury. The difference in strength is clear. Ryder's speed drops with each assault. High-speed movement and rapid attacks too fast for the eye to follow. Any of Saber's injuries are automatically healed. The conclusion seems foregone. It takes every last drop of Ryder's energy to suppress Saber. Ryder keeps attacking while Saber stops her with attacks of her own. Ryder knows that she and the boy she calls Master will be killed instantly if Saber goes on the offensive. So she keeps running, knowing that she's going to burn out soon. Her strength is sapped with each passing second. Ryder said that she could hold out for 2 minutes. It has already been 10 minutes since she passed that point. Her legs are starting to collapse from within under the extreme strain. Meanwhile, Saber's completely unharmed. All of Ryder's attacks have failed to reach Saber, while Saber remains firmly planted, showing no sign of fatigue. Skill, strength, magical energy. Saber has the overwhelming advantage in all three. So the instant Ryder loses her only edge, her speed, Saber will most likely move. Ryder's mobility steadily declines. It's only a matter of time before Saber catches her. She'll be forced to catch her breath after a few more seconds, probably once the next attack is repelled. Once Ryder loses her physical and magical strength and can't operate at full output anymore, Saber will cut her in two. But they predicted this situation. Before setting out for the cave, Ryder and the boy both knew that the battle would run this way. She knows that this is a losing tactic. There is only one way to avert her death. They wait for the opportunity with bated breath. Ryder attacks Saber. At the same time, I loosen the binding on my left arm, and I begin projecting. I'm fading away. I loosen the holy shroud around Archer's left arm. Search. I'm being blown away. The wind is powerful. I'm beginning to fail to understand anything I see, making me want to cry. Release my right hand. Put the shroud back on. I can't take this for even a second. I'll lose it. I'll lose what's precious to me. Search. Select. No, in this moment, every part of my body is dead. Ryder is fighting for her life. She isn't winning. She isn't whining. I too, need to do what I can. I can fight. I can't lose focus for even a second. Ryder will decide the timing. I need to free my left arm in advance so I can be ready. Select. Analyze. But it hurts. It hurts. I'm scared. Hurry. Hurry. Get right. I disappear. I just lost something important. The memory of the promise to Kiritsugo. I can't remember what I lost. I just know that there was something I kept close and I'll never remember it again. Reserve. 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 Something rips. My right lung is torn out from inside. Still not yet. My mind won't last. Ryder's desperate too. We won't lose. Look directly at Ryder with your heart and your soul. She left her life in your hands. Ryder has her battle to fight. And I'll fight my way. Ryder stops moving. She's on her knees in front of Saber. Maybe she's too weak to retreat. Saber's sword streaks through the air. Ryder's going to die. Wait for my chance.
Ryder!
I'll trust her. I have to trust her and wait. How would rushing in to attack Saber help now? What could I possibly do with the projection I've been keeping at the ready? We've already decided our battle plan. Ryder accepted it and recognized me as her temporary master. So I need to... Saber slices through empty air. Ryder's already retreated out of her range, as far as possible. She withdraws to the very edge of the cave. Saber doesn't give chase. Her legs are bound in Ryder's chains. That's why Ryder was kneeling. She persistently attacked Saber's upper body, but used her last move to chain her legs and drive the daggers into the ground, restricting her mobility. Magical energy surges through Saber's whole body. Wreathed in lightning, she easily destroys the chains. But it's too late. It was only a 2-second delay, but it was more than enough time for Ryder to wind up. 50 meters separate them. Seeing the distance between them, Saber instantly divines Ryder's intent. She only has one way to counter it. She'll answer Ryder's ultimate attack with her own. There's a torrent of dark light. The wind coils and Saber's sword glows red hot. The comet will likely attack in 1 second. She deploys her strongest noble phantasm to cleave through Ryder's pure white light. Ryder shifts her posture. The summoning circle is complete. A giant red eyeball appears in front of her. Saber shifts her blade sideways. Starlight coalesces and rotates, achieving criticality. The black sun grasps that flare in both hands. Ryder chants its true name. She's instantly enveloped in white. Saber unveils its true name. Her sword blazes into black fire. Two rays of light flood the chamber, struggling for dominance. Time stops for an instant. Shiro Emiya accelerates his inner world, disguising a moment as an eternity.
Torres.
Search, select, analyze, project. That is my role. This is my second projection. Magecraft which erodes my body. But I can't defeat Saber without it. Ryder can't overcome Saber's noble phantasm, not even with Bellerophon. We both know that. So I'll help her win. If Ryder's noble phantasm lacks destructive power, then I just need to make up for it.
I am the bone of my sword.
I've decided what I'll use. I complete the projection in an instant. I'll make Ryder win using the greatest defense Archer knows.
Lo Hayas!
I intone its true name and turn it into a reality. I thrust out my left arm and it shakes. The nerves, muscles, and blood vessels in it are going haywire. It feels like it could snap at any second, and I desperately stabilize it with my right hand. Endure it. I can't stop the projection yet. The two pillars of light are still pushing against each other. If I lose Ias's protection here, Ryder will be vaporized. My flailing left arm and left shoulder fire bullets into my body. Uncontrollable magical energy rips around inside my body, like someone going wild with a rubber eraser, scrubbing Shiro Emiya's insides blank. I howl. I scream to drive off the pain and terror of losing myself. Raw magical power clashes. It completely upsets the rivalry between the two powers. petals scatter the black light, flooding the cavern in blinding radiance. The servants are sent flying apart. Ryder slams into a wall unprotected with the same speed as her charge. Saber is blown away by Bellerophon's light and falls to the ground on her back. They're both still alive. Ryder is down, unable to stand. She might be out of magical energy. Meanwhile, Saber is on the verge of defeat, but she still has strength to spare. We just barely edged Saber out in the Battle of Noble Phantasms. Oh. I run. I run without even knowing what I'm supposed to do. As I run, I unsheathe the Azoth blade.
Saber.
I rush to her. I rush to Saber and lean over her helpless body.
Shiro.
Did she hit her head? Saber gazes up at me absently. I wonder what I look like in her eyes. I straddle her, raise the dagger, and look down at Saber. Saber's regeneration is nothing to trifle with. She'll recover soon unless I finish her off. Unless I kill Saber, who's wounded and can't even stand or fight back, she'll kill us. My faded mind feels terribly clear. Is she conscious again? Saber's cold eyes stare up at her death. I bring my arm down. I don't hesitate. I stare into Saber's eyes and answer her gaze by bringing my heavy arms down. She doesn't resist. I end her life with a precise strike. I had memories with her. Even now I felt the warmth of life from her. Her warmth was always right next to me, and I can never forget it. I kill her, along with those memories. I gouge out my memories and throw them into a place I can't reach. They'll never come back. I'll never remember her again. I'll never be forgiven for this. I chose this path. I killed others to save Sakura. I killed a girl close to me who protected me until the very end with my own hands. I'm not allowed to regret or repent. This is what it means to choose to be someone's ally. To protect my ego, to protect the one I love, I'm going to keep robbing others of their precious things. Beyond that, I'll never find anything brilliant enough to make up for what was lost.
でも、Saber.
For the rest of my life, I'll keep searching for happiness that can make up for what was lost. I can already see that my debts will keep piling up until one day I can no longer move. Yet, pathetic, absurd, and worthless though it may be, I'll take responsibility for what I stole. I don't know where to find happiness. Still, I swear never to give up, even if there's no end to my quest.
ありがとう。お前に何度も助けられた。
My dagger stops meeting resistance. The black swordsman silently stares up at me as she sinks into the black shadow. Saber. Man. A black wave surges. It encircles her with both arms so as not to let its tiny prey escape, and the wave comes crashing down. But the golden flash of light does not permit its existence. 6 down already. The black-bodied curses keep seething toward Rin, and she cuts each of them down in a single stroke. Sakura, the Shadow's master, is shocked. Her astonishment is reasonable. Each of the black giants can rival a servant's noble phantasm. Even a single one should be an inescapable avatar of death to Rin. and she's destroyed 6. On top of that, she advances steadily up the slope as she disintegrates each one. She erases the 7th shadow with a flick of the blade.
そんなはず。やつ満員しちゃって鈍たつい。しつこい。けべえ、つばい変だ。
The jeweled sword releases light. The previously colorless blade now dazzles with the colors of the rainbow, supplying her with extraordinary magical energy from its core.
It's less to fly. Let's out
and illuminates the cavern in blinding gold. Rin sweeps away the Shadow's offensive and arrives at the top of the cliff. Sakura is in front of her. The dark girl stares at her sister, aghast.
そんなはず。
Countless shadows rise in concert with her whispers. Their quantity is incomparable to before. Is Sakura panicking, or has the thing behind her sensed that she's in danger? The amount of magical energy brought to bear against a single human, Rin Tohsaka, exceeds 100 million units if it were to be quantified.
また大盤振る舞いね。教会の人間がいたらそっとするわよ。それだけの貯蔵量があれば向こう100年は一部門を永続できるってね。それを切り伏せる姉さんは何ですか。私が引き出せる魔力は姉さんの何千倍です。姉さんには一人だって私を消す魔力なんてないのに、どうしても何も純粋な力勝負をしてるだけよ。私は呪いの解除なんてできない。単に影を作り上げているあなたの魔力を私の魔力で打ち消しているだけ。そんなの見てわからん。それが嘘だって言ってるんです。姉さんにはそれだけの魔力はない。さっきから何度も放っている光はまるで
Strongest servant. She stops herself from saying that it's almost exactly like Saber's Excalibur.
その剣ですか。考えられないけど、それはセーバーの宝具の力を真似ている。姉さんに残った微弱な魔力でも起動する影を殺すだけの限定物騒。は？ちょっとそんなこともわからないの？あなた今まで何を習ってきたのよ、さくら。バカにしないで。だってそうでなくっちゃ説明が。説明も何もない。これはセイバーの宝剣のコピーでもないし、影殺しの魔剣でもない。これはね、さくら、トーサカに伝わる宝石剣でゼルレッジっていうの。ゼルレッジ。あきれた。ゼルレッジの名前も知らないのね。なんか説明するのもバカらしくなってきたけど、まあ要するにあなたの天敵よ。今のあなたは魂を永久期間にして魔力を生み出す第三魔法の出来損ない。そして私は無限に連なる平行世界を旅するじいさんの模造品、第二魔法のコピーキャットってこと。
The jeweled sword flashes. It releases light along its arc, erasing the shadows protecting Sakura. Not only that, the mini Excalibur scores the walls with its light and heat, sending tremors through the cavern. Really is just a brutish clash of magical energy. What magic is she using? Right now, Rin clearly has a stockpile that can compete with Sakura's magical energy.
近づくまでもないわね。こっちはこう見えても飛び道具だし、あんたは影に守られて出てこないし、どっちかの力が尽きるまで打ち合いをするのも悪くないわ。まああんまり続けたら 私たちより先にこの洞窟が崩れそうだけど。そんな打ち合いなんて、それも嘘です。姉さんにはもうこれっぽっちも魔力なんて残っていない。その剣が何であれ、もう次の攻撃なんてできないはず。そうならやってみましょう。いいからかかってきなさい、さくら。あなたが何をしてきても私には届かない。荒領事だけど、まあ授業料って思って諦めるのね。ちょっと強くなったからってわがまま放題したこと後悔させてあげるから。まだです。ベルフィールド、マインハウテン、シュリーストアリス、エーステ、ツバイテン、ラントフレア、シュビーテン。
Sakura can't comprehend what's unfolding before her. She just keeps sending out her shadows in fear. The Sword of Light mercilessly blasts them all away. She's afraid and confused, so she doesn't notice the sweat on Rin's face. Each time she swings the blade, her arm muscles are severed. It's the price for using the jeweled sword.
ストックに関しちゃ負けないんだけど、私の体がどこまで持つか。
Light erases the attacking shadows, but their powers are not evenly matched. The difference in Rin Tohsaka and Sakura Mato's combat strength has not changed. Sakura's magical energy capacity is in the billions or even trillions. It could not even be exhausted in a whole generation, so it really can be called bottomless.
私は誰よりも強くなった。もう誰にも叱られなくなった。なのにどうしていきなりそんな都合よく私に追いつくんですか。それが間違いだっていうのよ。いくらデタラメな貯蔵があったってそれを使うのは術者でしょ。わかる？どんなに水があったって外に出す量は蛇口の大きさに左右される。マトウサクラっていう魔術回路の瞬間放出量は1000弱なら、どんなに貯蔵があっても一度に放出できる魔力は私とさして変わらない。だから私が用意するのはあんたと同じ貯蔵量じゃなく、毎回1000程度の魔力でいい。そんなバカみたいに肥大した魔力なんて持っていても宝の持ち腐れよ。
She swings a ray of light. 1,000 shadows can indeed be opposed by 1,000 rays of light. But Rin's magical energy number is less than 100. It's a contradiction. Obviously, she can only compete on this impossible level thanks to the power of her sword. With each attack, she throws out 1,000 units of energy, and the Sword of Light replenishes it. It doesn't amplify her own power. All she's doing is pulling in the mana that fills the cave and feeding it into the jeweled sword. Ode is the magical energy that an individual mage possesses, while mana is the natural magical energy in the atmosphere. It goes without saying which is greater. Rin, whose Ode is inferior to Sakura's at the moment, can only rely on atmospheric mana. And yes, the mana in the cave does reach 1,000 units. She could use mana to destroy the Shadow Giants. Once. But she wouldn't be able to keep it up. Atmospheric mana is limited. Once mana is exhausted, it takes a very long time to recover, just like a human's Ode. In this world, in this cave, Rin can resist Sakura's attack only once. But what if there were another cave? Then she could fight back one more time. And what if you could make all of those what-ifs a reality? Parallel worlds. What if you could open a way to a mirror image of this exact same place and pull mana from another cavern that hasn't been exhausted? That's what the Sword of Cave for.
その歪み、聖杯と同じ。まさか姉さん。そう、よそから魔力を引っ張ってるのはあんただけじゃない。けど勘違いしないでよね。私のはそんな無駄に増えたものじゃない。
私はあくまで並行して存在するここから魔力を拝借してるだけ。合わせ鏡に映った無限の平行世界から毎回一戦ずつ魔力を集めて力任せに切り払ってるのよ。
The girl holding the enormous magical stockpile known as the Greater Grail gasps.
そんなデタラメ。分かったさくら、そっちが無尽蔵ならこっちは無制限ってこと。
The Jeweled Sword Zelrach. It's a miracle that connects to parallel worlds, which are believed to be infinite. That's the only power this sword has. It's a mystic code that creates the slightest opening, too narrow for a man to pass through, to peer into a neighboring world with different possibilities. It does not have the power to amplify magical energy, nor create 1,000 units of energy with each swing. But it's enough. Once the mana in this world's cave is exhausted, she can just pull unused energy from a neighboring world's cavern. And once that's used up, she moves on to the next. And the next. Next. There are endless parallel worlds, infinite mirrored possibilities. Ergo, infinite. It doesn't matter that Tohsaka's maximum energy capacity is 1,000. Bottomless stockpile versus an infinite supply. Since their magic circuits perform on an equal level, they stand on equal ground. The underground tremors occur for the umpteenth time. Rin's jeweled sword isn't just destroying the shadows. The excess firepower is slowly collapsing the cave. If it comes down, this altar, the Greater Grail, won't be unscathed. Continuing this vain battle would mean failure for Sakura. Even if Rin were to attack until her physical strength failed her, the cave would collapse after. The shadows stop. Has she finally understood her enemy? With heaving shoulders and ragged breath, Sakura glares at her sister who stands there calmly.
何度やっても同じよ、さくら。あなたが手に入れた力なんてその程度。舞い上がってた頭もこれで少しは冷えたでしょ。ふざけないで。そんなの不公平です、姉さん。姉さんばっかり。どうして？
The attack and defense continues. Sakura screams, knowing it's pointless, the comprehension wringing her neck. Such a long time. She screams with resentment toward her only blood relative that has built up over a long time.
そうです。私は姉さんが羨ましかった。遠坂の家に残って、いつも輝いていて、苦労なんて一つも知らずに育った遠坂凛が憎らしかった。だから勝ちたかった。一度くらい、一度でいいから姉さんにすごいって褒めてほしかったのに。なのにどうしてそんなことも許してくれないんですか？
Hold on a second, everyone. Okay, I'm back. The older sister destroys the encroaching shadows. She grits her teeth, getting a glimpse of her younger sister's heart.
どうしてですか？私は違ったのに。同じ姉妹で同じ家に生まれたのに、私には何もなかった。あんな暗い虫蔵に押し込まれて、毎日おもちゃみたいに扱われてた。人間らしい暮らしも優しい言葉もかけられたことはなかった。
Her hatred. It isn't directed toward herself.
死にかけたことなんて毎日だった。死にたくなって鏡を見るのなんて毎日だった。でも死ぬのは怖くて、一人で消えるなんて嫌だった。だって
They told me I
私にはお姉さんがいるって聞かされてた。
I didn't see the quotes there. Or I didn't see that continued. Oops.
私は遠坂の子だから、お姉さんが助けに来てくれるんだって。 ずっと信じていたのに。なのに姉さんは来てくれなかった。私のことなんて知らずにいつも綺麗なまま笑ってた。惨めな私のことなんて気にせず遠坂の家で幸せに暮らしていた。どうしてですか？同じ姉妹なのに、同じ人間なのに、どうして姉さんだけそんなに笑っていられるんです？
Her hatred isn't directed at her sister. It's a plea with nowhere to go, directed at the world and herself.
人間をやめたですって。当然です。私はもうずっと前から人間扱いされてこなかった。目も髪も姉さんとは変わっていって、細胞の隅々までマキリの魔術師になるよう変えられた。11年です、姉さん。マキリの教えは鍛錬なんてものじゃなかった。あの人たちは私の頭の良さなんて期待してなかった。体に直接刻んで、ただ魔術を使うだけの道具に仕立て上げた。苦痛を与えれば与えるほどいい道具になるって笑うんです。そのうち食事にも毒を盛られて、ご飯を食べることは怖くて痛いことでしかなくなった。虫小屋に放り込まれればただ息を吸うことさえおじい様の許しが必要だった。
She's crying. Rin cuts away the shadows clinging to the crying girl.
どうかしてますよね。でも痛くて痛くてやめてくださいって懇願すればするほど、あの人たちは私に手を加えていった。だから姉さんみたいに頭も良くない、何でもできるわけじゃない。私にできることはこうやって自分の痛みをぶつけることだけです。
A wounded soul. A body beyond saving. And that's...
けどそれって私のせいですか？私をこういう風にしたのはおじい様で、マトウに売り渡したお父さんで、助けに来てくれなかった姉さんじゃない。私だって好きでこんな化け物になったんじゃない。みんなが私を追い詰めるからこうなるしかなかったのに。
And that's...
だからどうしたっていうのそれ。
And that's supposed to be sad? She doesn't have an ounce of pity for her sister.
そういうこともあるでしょう。泣き言を言ったところで何が変わるわけでもないし、化け物になったのならそれはそれでいいんじゃない？だって今は痛くないんでしょあんた。
Ruthless, cold acceptance. The girl's screams were excessive, but they only sought warmth. And Rin rejected it all. She affirmed the monster. It only happened because you're weak. Her perpetually perfect sister doesn't sugarcoat the words at all.
姉さんがそんなだから。
Shadows boil up. Driven back by her sister and denied even a proper fight, the girl materializes more curses in her despair.
そう。じゃあ私からも一つだけ言っておくわ。私、苦しいと思ったことは一度もなかった。大抵のことはさらっと受け流せてたし、どんなことだってうまくこなせた。だからあんたみたいに追い込まれることもなかったし、追い込まれる人間の悩みなんて興味なかった。そういう性格なのよ、私。
あんまり他人の痛みがわからないの。だから正直に言えば、さくらがどんな辛い思いをしてどんなにひどい日々を送ってきたかはわからない。悪いけど理解しようとも思わないわ。
A concise rebuttal. She doesn't lie. She only tells her aggrieved sister the truth.
けどさくら、そんな無神経な人間でもね、私は自分が恵まれているなんて一度も思えたことはなかったけど。
She says it straight. She puts all of her feelings into her reply. Sakura can't understand. What did that just say? Even I never lived a blessed life. Hatred makes her see red. After all this time, those all too convenient words only sound like mockery. Shut up.
今さら恵まれていなかったですって。
She's going to twist apart. She's going to break. You never even looked at me. You were so brilliant, blessed with talent and fortune. Shut up.
よくもそんな。
You don't care about me at all. I've never had a single thing I wanted, but you just keep on insisting on how clean you are. Shut up, Nei-san.
足りない。そんな言葉聞きたくない。そんな言い訳なんて聞かない。私は姉さんだけど。
Need you anymore. The girl shouts to deny her own darkness. That was Rin's last act of resistance. She's been determined to hold out as long as possible. She waited for Shiro Emiya until the last possible moment, but she can't go on any longer. No. It was always a mistake to entrust their personal problems to Shiro. That was Rin Tohsaka's weakness for Sakura Mato.
さくら。
She calls her sister's name in a casual manner, like saying good morning. And in that moment, Rin Tohsaka decides the outcome of the battle.
さくら。
She calls her name and throws it. It's her greatest weapon. She tosses the magician's irreplaceable relic like she's playing catch.
フェルトエンデ。
The cavern is flooded with light. It explodes. The jeweled sword embodying miracles that humans cannot achieve crumbles, erasing all shadow. And then she runs. Rin makes a beeline for Sakura. Sakura freezes, cowering from the light. She may have acquired great power, but she's still an amateur with zero combat experience. If Rin wanted, it would be a simple matter to defeat her. She easily closes the gap. While running, she grips another knife she was hiding behind her back. Sakura can't react. She might have realized that she's about to die, but it's far too late. Rin's got her. It's over, she thinks, as she thrusts the knife.
ダメだこ
Oh,
れ。
Oh. And she realizes her own defeat. I'm dead. She realizes that it's too late to dodge, and the knife is going to stab her in the heart. She'll try a counterattack, but it won't stop in time.
殺される
She's... Oh.
んだ。
She doesn't feel fear. She's used to people hurting her. It feels terribly natural that Rin Tohsaka is the one to do it. But Sakura closes her eyes. She doesn't like pain and she's afraid of dying. She's relieved to know that if she disappears here, at least she won't suffer as much. But it doesn't hurt, and the end doesn't come. Instead, she feels something very warm. The moment Sakura notices where it's coming from, her blinded vision returns. Someone's bleeding. Warm human blood is trickling from her stomach. Blood which can never be returned is flowing from her sister, who's hugging her tightly, and seems like she's about to collapse. Why? The girl asks. Rin was clearly faster. Sakura was clearly about to be killed, but at the very end, the knife never stabbed her.
シロのことは言えないな、私も。
She murmurs absently. The girl always yearned for this. It's the voice of the sarcastic and merciless, but warm and kind Rin Tohsaka. Rin thinks. There really wasn't much to it. In that last moment, she just felt this was the best thing to do. When she saw Sakura up close, she felt like, I can't kill Sakura, huh?
バカだ、私。
She's amazed at herself. She really does have a knack for screwing up at the worst possible times to have realized such a thing at the last possible moment. Realize it sooner, you idiot. But, well, it is what it is. Rin decides to accept it.
でもしょうがないわよね。私、だらしのないやつを見てるとほっとけないしさ。きちんとした仕組みが大好きだから、頑張ってるやつには頑張った分だけ報酬がないと我慢ならないし。
But most of all,
さくらのことが好きだし、いつも見ていたし、いつも笑っていてほしかったし。私が辛ければ辛いほど、あんたは楽できてるんだって信じたかった。それだけで苦しいなんて思う暇すらなかったんだから。
she hugs Sakura lovingly. It's the embrace of a lifetime between sisters. She gently hugs the sister who just ran her through the stomach, as if discovering a long-sought treasure. Warmth leaves her body. She doesn't complain. Rin doesn't regret her death, only that she couldn't save her little sister.
ごめんね、こういう勝手な兄貴で。
Rin.
それと、ありがとう。そのリボン、ずっとつけていてくれて、嬉しかった。
Then she collapses on the altar, like a falling red flower. Her weight is gone. In that moment, her sister disappears along with that mirage-like warmth.
けどね、さくら、そんな無神経な人間でもね、私は自分が恵まれているなんて一度も。
How much loneliness was behind those words? The girl's suffering was her own. No one else could understand it or release her from it. That hypocrisy wasn't possible. In the same sense, what if the sister she'd always looked up to and believed in was going through loneliness that nobody else could understand? What if that were true? She was her ideal, who had everything she ever wanted and was always full of confidence. What if her sister was always chained by something too?
私
Then, it would mean that the world wasn't weak and bad. She was the only cowardly one for not looking up. And there were people who awkwardly tried to love her.
なのに、私が壊しちゃった。
Where did I go wrong? Everywhere. I wanted it so badly, but it was right in front of me all along. She hugged me so softly and thought so much about me. And I smashed it all to pieces with my own hands. hands are frozen. She couldn't even return the hug. Stained in the blood of the sister who loved her, she furiously curses herself. Jeez. Rin. I hear a sound. Slight tremors shake the cave. I can only barely hear the light and sound from afar, but the cave is creaking and shaking. Is that thunder in the distance? I wonder about it absently, but I can't remember at a time I ever heard distant thunder. The dagger in my hand began to crumble as soon as Saber disappeared back into the shadows. It's probably the cost of killing a powerful familiar like a servant. The Azoth blade that Tohsaka put her life savings into has crumbled to dust. I tightly fastened the bindings on my left arm. I've used up most of my magical energy. There's some left in Archer's arm, and some left in me. I think I can manage with that combined power, but I'm limited to one last projection. I won't be able to control Archer's arm anymore, no matter what I do afterwards.
Light.
Oh, right. I wonder what happened to her. I stand up. My body feels hard. It feels like my joints have turned into steel. I bet bullets would bounce off me now.
Raida.
I can't walk very well. I walk. I'm bleeding. I pretend not to see it. The pain feels like someone drove iron stakes into my legs, but luckily I can grit my teeth and walk through it. Something's making a sound far away. It sounds like something I heard a long time ago when I was a kid. The fact that I can remember things I heard long ago must mean I'm still a kid at heart. I had a lot of interest when I was a kid.
Raida.
I walk up to the wall she got smashed into. Ryder's still alive, but she's beat up all over and most of her magical energy is spent. She probably can't move right away. She should take a break.
先に行ってる。走れるようになったら来てくれ。
I mutter at the fallen rider and turn to go deeper into the cave.
思ったより人使いが荒いのですね。あなたは。
Looks like she's conscious. Ryder can't stand up right away, and she looks up like something's very bright.
悪いな。今は頼りきりになる。少しでも回復したら駆けつけてくれ。
ええ。すぐに行きますから。後のことは心配なく。
Ryder won't push herself too hard. She knows that she should take time to properly recover instead of forcing herself to get up. She isn't reckless like me. It's so reassuring. The tremors are happening more often. I can't waste time here. I go after Tohsaka, though I can't move my body very well. I'm getting breathless. I use the wall to support myself as I move forward. My pace isn't bad. My body just feels stiff, but it shouldn't get in the way once I get used to it. Something comes out of my mouth. I pretend not to notice it and wipe my lips. My thigh muscles go snap and feel numb. I nearly trip over. I'm pretty sure I heard a snap. My clothes are torn from the inside, and I can see gaping wounds. I do my best not to look at them and keep walking. I'm close. A lukewarm wind brushes against my body. Here goes. I clap my cheeks and start running. Oh, he said here goes. I leave the darkness. A wasteland I've seen before spreads out before me, filling my vision. No, not quite. I haven't seen this sight before. That didn't exist in the wasteland I saw in Illya's record. The root cause of this absurd war. The thing that took Sakura from me.
襲撃仕掛けてる。
I'm assailed by a sense of menace and revulsion. It's Its excessively vital breathing declares that it's on the cusp of its birth. Flashes of light and tremors. The light lashes out from the top of the cliff, haphazardly blasting the cavern. I don't know what's happening up there, but given how flashy it is, it can only be Tohsaka. Which means... I see.
焦ってるんだな、お前。
I look around. The eyeless, twisted fetus is looking at me. No doubt about it. It must not like Tohsaka's rampage very much because it really wants to come out. But its body isn't ready yet. Its placenta is inside that dark pillar. It can't come out unless its body is fully formed. That's why it's worried that Tohsaka will destroy its placenta, and it's rushing to finish its body. It wants to be born in this world as a servant with a flesh and blood body.
ふざけろ。
I run. I see a desperate clash of light and darkness.
Sakura.
Once I get close enough to make out Sakura and Tohsaka fighting, time stops in the cavern. An enormous source of light blinds me enough to feel that way, and I hear a childlike wail and the world begins to shake violently. The light didn't destroy the chamber walls. This is destruction on a more fundamental level. It's the frenzied squirming of the giant shadow attempting to come out.
今のは
A horrible chill runs down my spine. I have an ominous feeling. Sakura's wailing voice prophesies the worst thing I could see.
遠坂。
I run. Breathing wildly, I scramble up the cliffs using afflicted limbs. The tremors won't stop. Boom. Somewhere in the wasteland, I hear a large boulder fall. I don't care what's going on behind me. Covered in dirt, I single-mindedly climb the cliff. And a scene that I was too late to stop is burned into my eyes.
遠坂。
The ground is shaking. Tohsaka's sprawled face down, and I can't see her face. She resembles a large flower fallen from its stem. I look up. Beyond Tohsaka, I see Sakura berating herself and backing away from her blood-stained sister.
Sakura.
ちょっと私殺しちゃった。あんなに大切にしてくれてたのに。私姉さんを殺しちゃった。
Sakura isn't talking to me. She's in denial. She did this. In a near craze, she hates herself with all her heart. Herself for soaking in Tohsaka's blood, herself for being corrupted, herself for connecting to the shadow.
私バカでした。ごめんなさい。ごめんなさい。こんなの辛いだけだった。ダメだって、負けるなって姉さんはずっと言ってくれてたのに。私
The shadow
バ
binds
カだから
Sakura.
分からなくて。先輩が信じてくれたのに。
The black command spells covering her whole body chain her in place.
バカやだ。もうやめなくちゃ。でも戻れなくてダメ。やだ。もうこんなのは嫌だ。
She refuses. Sakura is rejecting the shadow. She's trying to reject the shadow and kill herself in her self-hatred. But she can't. The shadow needs her body. She's trying to kill herself, but the shadow won't allow it. Sakura's self-condemnation and the shadow's attempt to stop her from killing herself are tearing her apart. Tohsaka won. Sakura's breaking free of her possession. I knew it. She chose Sakura's life in the very end. Sakura is Sakura. Even if the shadow swallows her, she hasn't changed at her core. I'm the one who did this to her. Back then, if I hadn't been afraid of the shadow touch Sakura and slapped some sense into her, this never would have happened. I run to Tohsaka. She's still breathing, just barely. It's still too early to give up.
Sakura, Tohsaka は死んでいない。そうだ、死んでいない。まだ助かる。いや、どうあっても助けるんだ。俺とお前で助けなくちゃいけないんだ。そうだろ、さくら。
Light returns to Sakura's eyes. The shadow's hold weakens. Finally, she recognizes me and Tohsaka, sighs in relief, and... desperately holds herself back. I shield Tohsaka with my body and take the shadow's attack on my back. Shadows spill out one after another from behind Sakura. You gotta be kidding me. It's not even born yet, but its sense of danger is first class.
分かってる。往生際が悪いガキの仕業だ。桜を取られたくないってダダをこね始めやがった。待ってろ。すぐにぶん殴って桜から引き離してやる。
I walk towards Sakura. A shadow grazes my cheek. It would have taken my head off, but Sakura's shout seems to have changed its trajectory. Sakura hugs herself like she's trying to hold something in. But the shadows don't disappear. They keep increasing in number. She's crying. Sakura is sobbing. Not because the shadows are eating at her and causing her pain. She's crying in frustration that she can't keep the shadows under control. I take another step forward. A shadowy spear grazes my cheek again. I take another step. I place my right hand on my left shoulder. The shadow binds her more strongly with each step I take. My advance is hurting Sakura's body and heart.
どうしても何もない。桜をここから連れ出して遠坂を助ける。さっきそう言っただろう、桜。
そんなことを言ってるんですか、先輩は。やめてください。 私は助かりません。いいえ、助かっちゃいけないんです。私は生きてちゃいけない人間だった。
One step. A shadow hits me squarely in the stomach. It isn't a stab, it was just a dull punch. Sakura did it out of her own will to push me away.
ほら、見たでしょ先輩。私はこういう人間なんです。今さら外には戻れないし、この子も私を離してくれない。それにもし私いっぱい人を殺しました。何人も何人も殺して、兄さんも殺して、おじい様も殺して、姉さんも殺してしまった。
I mean, I can give you a pass on the brother and grandfather. They were kind of, you know, you did the right thing there.
そんな人間にどうしろって言うんです。奪ってしまったものは返せない。私は多くの人を殺しました。それでも生きていけって言うんですか、先輩は。
I see now. She's on a path of no return. Sakura feels like she's trapped by sins that she can't atone for. She thinks that there's no salvation. No matter what, she'll never forget the sin of taking so many lives, even if it wasn't of her own free will. Even if she's freed from the shadow and goes back to normal, a different kind of shadow will always hang over her. And yeah.
当然だろう。奪ったからには責任を果たせ、さくら。
I release the bindings on my left arm. This is the last time. I completely unravel the red shroud that's been holding back death's door. I lose consciousness. Before I'm gone, I need to go forward. I need to say what I came to say to Sakura while my mouth still works.
そうだ。罪の所在も罰の重さも俺にはわからない。
Shadows strike at my shoulder, chest, left leg, and stomach. Grind. They get deflected and fail to pierce me, throwing up a shower of sparks.
けど守る。これから桜に問われる全てのことから桜を守るよ。たとえそれが偽善でも好きな相手を守り通すことをずっと理想に生きてきたんだから。
Forward. Sakura's right in front of me now.
先輩、体
Begin. Projection. Only one item comes to mind. Shiro Emiya devotes all his remaining magical energy into its replication. Rule breaker. My final projection. I raise a dagger of contract breaking. I can't see Sakura's face very well.
お仕置きだ。きついの行くから歯を食いしばれ。
I hear her suck in a breath. And then, Sakura says yes and exposes her chest. Like this is going to be her final punishment.
帰ろう、さくら。そんな奴とは縁を切れ。
In a breath, I stab her in the heart. Sakura is released. The black command spells wrapping her body crumble away. I used a dagger of contract breaking, a noble phantasm that resets all magical effects and breaks servants' contracts. It doesn't endanger Sakura's life. It only breaks the contract she was bound to. The image doesn't continue. Sakura is alive. She goes limp. It must be the feedback from being released from the shadow. Tohsaka will still make it. Her bleeding stopped. She has a proper magic crest. The crest is a crystallization of the Tohsaka's inherited magecraft. Even if she loses consciousness, it won't allow its heir to die so easily. The cavern is shaking. I'll remind you. All the evil in the world. Please. The ridiculous curse is writhing. Damn it. The shadow isn't disappearing even though Sakura isn't a toast anymore. It's grown too much. It's going to come out even if Sakura is gone. As long as the Greater Grail exists, it'll come crawling out someday. I'll destroy it. I'll break down this giant magic circle along with the shadow. I'll remind you's undulations are gradually collapsing the cavern. But I don't think it'll disappear even if the cave comes down. I need to get rid of it once and for all. In here. Is that even possible? Yeah. Nothing's impossible. I'll get as close as possible to its feet and blow it up with maximum firepower. I'll remind you won't move as long as it's inside those black flames. While I still can, I need to cut it in half and return it to something that doesn't exist before it comes out. If there's a way to do it, it would be to blow it away with the most powerful noble phantasm I know of. I'm not breathing. It's about 100 meters to Aramayu's feet. I'll be okay. It isn't an impossible distance to cover. One more time. I just need to do one more projection and everything will be settled. It's okay. I can do it. I'll clean this all up and take them back.
Shiro, 聞こえていますか?
A stranger taps me on the shoulder. Who was she again? She isn't a stranger. I know her well. She looks kind of scary, but I remember that this woman can be trusted.
助かった。TohsakaとSakuraを連れて外に出られるか?
Shiro.
The long-haired woman looks at me for a few seconds, as if taking my measure.
それで、あなたは?
あれを閉じてから行く。すぐ終わるだろうけど、Tohsakaの傷は一刻を争う。Sakuraだって、ここにいたらあいつの影響を受けるだろう。アンリマユとやらは、懲りずにSakuraをマスターにするかもしれない。
承知しました。Sakuraとリンは私が運びます。安心してください。それだけの体力は回復してきたつもりです。
頼む。なんとか二人を連れて外に出てくれ。洞窟崩れ出してるだろう。くそ。あんたの足ならあんな落盤なんて問題じゃない。
では二人を安全な場所に運びして。
ああ、それは頼もしいんだけど、二人の手当てを優先してくれ。任せられるのはあんたしかいない。こっちはこっちでとっとと逃げるからTohsakaを直してやってくれ。そいつがいないとSakuraは幸せになれない。
Oh. I think this woman said she doesn't have any healing skills. Still, I have to trust that she'll take care of Tohsaka.
必ず。ですがシロ、それはあなたも同じです。Sakuraにはあなたとリンが必要です。それを肝に銘じておきなさい。私もSakuraを支えるのはあなたでなければ納得できませんから。急ぎます。ご分を。
The black-clad woman easily picks up the two girls and runs down the slope. She evades the crumbling ceiling, dashing for the exit. I can rest easy. I know I can count on her to keep them safe. Next is my final task. My mind disconnects. A mere 100 meters becomes a distance I can never cross. It's only a matter of time until the cave collapses. The ceiling is crumbling all over, and the barren field is turning into a mountain of rubble. My joints are stiff. It hurts to bend my arms and legs. I don't breathe when I lose focus, so I brace myself for knives to stab my throat, and finally manage to breathe a few times. I try that hard to breathe because humans can't move without sufficient oxygen. But right now, maybe I can move without any oxygen. And even if I breathed in a lot, it won't be long before It's hot. Hundreds of blades are sprouting from my body. It's an execution I can't escape from. My body is made of swords, but I've always known that. Told me. He said that if I used projection, it would light the fuse on a time bomb. So this ending was set a long time ago. My legs are heavy. I don't know what I'm doing. My heart feels like it's going to burst from the pain, fatigue, and emptiness. But just a little more. Everything will be over once I erase that thing. Nobody will stop me. Nobody's here to stop me anymore. And yet... The shadows flicker. In front of the crater they call the Greater Grail stands, lit by dark crimson flames.
Kotomine. Kirei.
Yep. We did see bloodstains when we came in here. This fucking guy.
ああ、お互いかろうじて生き延びているようだな、エミヤシロ。
His voice contains a strong will. In this lifeless world, he blocks my way like it's his destiny.
何のつもりだ。今さらお前の出る幕なんかない。
I don't ask him why he's alive. He's a walking corpse. I don't feel any magical energy emanating from his body. There's a dark stain where his heart should be. He's a short flame that, like a tipped hourglass, the same as me. I can't hear Kotomine's heartbeat. He doesn't have much time left. That isn't speculation. It's a fact. Kirei Kotomine will die in minutes, no matter what.
何をするなどと分かりきったことを聞くな。私の目的はただ一つ。この呪いを誕生させることのみ。
何を。お前にそんなことはできない。そいつはお前のものになんてならない。
当然。私はこれに干渉することはできんし、これに干渉する気もない。
God, you actually see something in there.
だが言ったはずだぞ。私は誕生するものを祝福すると。これは今まさに生まれようとしている。ならば、その誕生を阻む外敵から守ってやるのは当然ではないかな。
正気か、コトミネ。そんな今にも死にそうな体で何を言ってやがる。仮にお前の望み通りそれを外に出したところで、お前は。
それはお前も同じだろう。正気などとうにない。目的は果たしたところで我々の末路は同じだ。お前はこれを滅ぼし、私はこれを守る。だが、どちらが目的を果たそうと、結果を得る者はいない。それを承知でお前はここまで来た。無意味な争いだ。そんなものをする時点で、私もお前も正気ではないだろう。
Kotomine won't move out of the way. He's not going to retreat. As long as he's here, I can't use my last projection. I need time to do it. If I give him an opening, he'll pulverize my brain before I can use Saber's sword.
なんでだよ。なんでそこまでそいつを守る。そいつが出てきたところであんたに帰るものなんてないんだろう。なのにどうして。
Why would he approve of an enemy of humanity called all the evil in the world? Even on death's door.
なぜも何もない。私にとってはこれが唯一の娯楽だから。エミやシロ、お前が他人の幸福に至福を感じるように、私は他人の不幸に至福を感じるだけだ。そもそもなぜ殺す。生まれる前から悪と決めつけるのは傲慢ではないか。帰りたがっている命ならば孵化させてやるのが愛ではないのか。
何が愛だ。理屈言うな。あれはもう多くの人間を殺してきた。このまま外に出すことはできない。
ほう。では聞こう。お前の言う善悪とは何だ。人を殺すことが絶対の悪だとお前はそう言うのか。
それ
I can't possibly answer that. Right now, I have no morality. The moment I decided to save Sakura, I lost the justice that Shiro Emiya believed in.
それでいい。元より答えなどない。人間とはそういうものだ。明確な答えなどなく変動する真実を良しとする。我々には初めから真実となる事柄なぞない。人間は善悪を同時に兼ね備え、その属性を分けるのはあくまで自身の選択による。始まりはゼロであり、生まれ出ることに罪はないとお前には教えたはずだが。
ああ、それがたとえ悪であろうと赤ん坊に罪はないと。
そうだ。人間は生まれ学習によって善か悪かそのどちらかに偏るもの。とある聖典にはこうある。人間は天使より優れた存在だと。何故か。それは悪を知りながらも悪に走らぬ者がいるからだ。生まれながら善しか知らぬ天使とは違う。人間とは悪を持ちながら善と生きられる存在ゆえに善しか知らぬ天使より優れたものだと。しかに吐き気を催すような悪人が戯れに見せる善意がある。多くの人間を救った聖人が気まぐれに犯す悪意がある。この矛盾、両立する善意と悪意こそが人を人たらしめる聖杯だ。生きるということが罪であり、生きているからこその罰がある。聖あってこその善であり、聖あってこその悪だ。故に生まれいでぬ者に罪過は問えぬ。何者にも望まれぬもの、生まれながらに悪であるものなどない。あれは誕生するその瞬間まで罰を受けるいわれはない。
That's the answer of the priest named Kotomine. It's why he sincerely intends to forgive all the evil that people wished into existence.
だからって許すのか。こいつは初めから殺すためだけのものだ。外に出ることで多くの人間が死ぬと分かっているのなら、それは俺たちにとって紛れもない悪だろう。
そうだ。これは存在自体が悪だ。何しろそのように作られた。初めから悪であるようにと生まれたのだ。人間とは違う。これは悪しか持たぬ。人々が作り上げた純粋な単一心だ。だがその行為が悪だとしても、あれ本人がそれをどう思うかはまだわかるまい。
He wants to know what Aramayu personally thinks?
そうだ。この世すべての悪本人が自らの行動を悪しと嘆くか、良しと笑うか、 それは我々の測るところではない。もしあれに人に近い意志があり、自らの存在を嘆くのであれば、それは悪だろう。だが自らの存在に何の疑問も持たなければあれは善だ。何しろそのように望まれたもの、自らの機能に疑いを持たぬのであれば、それが悪であるはずがない。そう、生まれながらにして持ち得ぬもの、初めからこの世に望まれなかったもの、それが誕生する意味、価値のないものが存在する価値をあれは見せてくれるだろう。何もかもなくし何もかも壊した後、ただ一人残った者が果たして自身を許せるのか。私はそれが知りたい。外界との隔たりを持った者がありのままに生き続けることに罪悪があるのかどうか。そのためにお前の父を殺し、そのために麻藤さくらを生かした。私では答えは出せない。故に答えを出せる者の誕生を願った。
You're a real fucked up guy, you know that?
それが私の目的だ。エミやシロ、自身に帰る望みを持たぬお前と対極に位置する同質の願望だ。
I can't understand. This man's wish is too distant from me. But I do understand one thing. He used Sakura for a wish like that.
サクラを、そんなことのためにサクラを利用したのか。
I refocused my hazy vision and glare at the priest with all the hostility I can muster. This man.
そうだな。そんなことのために私は多くの者を殺してきた。言っただろう。私はそのように生きてきた。その疑問を解くためだけにここにあった。それは死を前にして変わるものでもない。
The walking corpse makes a declaration, resolve clear in his eyes. He says it so brazenly. He talks like he has no regrets or mistakes.
そうか。
I understand now. I can never agree with this man. When I first met him, I reflexively wondered if I could ever accept him. And now I know exactly why. I don't want to admit it, but I think I liked Kirei Kotomine. I desperately viewed him with hostility and attempted to deny that, to pretend I didn't feel that way. He said that we were similar. I understand why now. We both think of ourselves as sinners. We both lived our lives trying to cast off those chains. We knew our methods were flawed, but we believed it was the right way to atone, and we sought salvation which we would never obtain.
引かないよな、そりゃ。
He won't, because we're the same. It isn't because he's about to die and wants to see his wish come true. That's right. He's not keeping an oath because this is the end. That's just how he's lived his life. He's never walked any other path. Even if he dies 1 minute from now, he doesn't know any other correct way to live.
それにな、告白すれば干渉でもある。以前からよもやとは思っていたが、ことここに至ってようやく気がついた。
He steps forward. Neither of us have much time left, so we'll settle this quickly. I'm going to snuff out his flame before mine runs out.
私はお前たちを羨んでいる。求めても得られなかったもの、手に入れたというのに手に入らなかったもの、どのような戒律をもってしても指の隙間からこぼれ落ちた無数の思い。お前たちが幸福と感じるものが、そのうっせきをここで帳消しにするのみ。
You know what his stance reminds me of so much? I was thinking about it when I first saw him. It reminds me of Goetia fading away. His stance just really reminds me of that. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they modeled that stance after, but like... You know, it really just makes me think of Goetia at the end.
幸福と感じられなかった。
Yeah. This man is empty because he never obtained anything. He searched and searched, but never gained even one bit of happiness. His life brought only death to anything he obtained. If it's the only way he ever lived, how could he ever abandon it now?
そうだ。無駄な時間を使わせたな、琴峰。
I restart my forgotten breathing. I send air into my lungs and switch my body over to combat mode.
構わん。時間がないのはお互い様だ。
Kotomine puts strength into his muscles. This won't be a battle of magecraft. We're both dead men walking. All we can do is pound each other with our fists. We don't have any tactics or skills left. We're going to bash our remaining lives against each other. He'll kill me and grant his wish. I'll kill him and destroy his wish. We bet our lives on this wager. Before time runs out, I'll kill him and erase the shadow. I run and make a beeline at my opponent. My legs don't have much power left. I drop my hips, eye the chest of my approaching opponent, and strike him as hard as I can with undodgeable timing. But my right fist cuts through empty air, and it's my chest that takes the impact. Kotomine is gone. The enemy I attacked with such speed and power disappears from sight. He bends his tall body to my left flank and drives a fist into my stomach. Whips his legs like lightning and kicks me into the air. His kicks are like breaths of fire. In the last few hours here, I'd forgotten what it was like to feel pain strong enough to make me pass out. How many meters was I launched? The impact was so strong, I wouldn't have been surprised if my head detached from my torso. No, if we're going with that, even the second blow to my stomach would have destroyed my organs. I know this. Untelegraphed economy of movement, straight lines that are also circles, attacks that emphasize internal over external damage. And at the highest level, too. This isn't something he could have just picked up by watching people.
そうでもない。私のこれは真似事だ。死の灯籠を真似ただけのうちに何も宿らぬものだが、死に損ないの相手には十分のようだ。
The follow-up is coming. I force my stiffened joints to bend and get up. But then Kotomine stops and looks at his fist. It's covered in red.
厄介な体だな。撃つ方が命がけと。
That's what he gets for hitting a bundle of blades. I collect my scattered thoughts and face the enemy. None of that matters. He won't stop even if his opponent is covered with lethal thorns.
だがいいハンデだ。
Fucking smirk's really good.
つまるところ、私とお前の戦いは。
Kotomine lowers his stance. His trained body readies an explosive strike.
外敵との戦いではなく、自身をかける戦いということだ。
The enemy approaches. Kotomine has the overwhelming edge in close combat skills. His fists won't break. At this rate, my hourglass will shatter before it even runs out. I don't turn away and meet my enemy approaching like a rocket. There's only one thing to do. I need to drive my fist at him even faster than last time. Faster than he can dodge. The only sound in my earlobes is my pounding heartbeat. I don't perceive the sounds of the collapsing cave and the rain of rubble at all. The last thing I need to beat right is right in front of me. I don't care about any centuries-long obsession or the collapse of a world. To Shiro Emiya, the defeat of this enemy is his final purpose. What do you mean interlude here. Who are we going to, Ryder? It's collapsing. The collapse is all but assured. The Ironsburn's 1,000-year quest. The Mercury's 500-year wish. A world that has continued without ending, changing or evolving, is finally coming to an end. So, are you fucking kidding me, Zouken? Amidst the destruction, it still has a will. I don't want to die. Its body is nothing but a dark red lump of meat, looking nothing like a human. It is a swarm of insects that dwelled in this cavern. He gathers them all to form a single lump of flesh, but he cannot maintain a humanoid body anymore. His writhing form is simply a lump of meat that can move. But it's still alive. The lump curses its rotting body and its melting soul. I don't want to die. Only its obsession is still intact. He crawls on the ground. Zouken Matou, the old mage, his main body anchoring his soul having been crushed, clings to this world by his obsession alone. His doom is only a matter of time. Although he has fit his soul into a hastily assembled swarm of insects, he will never recover from being crushed twice. I don't want to die. The old mage who has become a lump of meat will die an agonizing death. He will rot until the end, and die feeling regret. It's right in front of him. He gazes out at the embodiment of eternity which he sought for so long and was only one step away from obtaining. Are his death cries agony or regret? I don't want to die. He doesn't want to die. How can he just disappear now? 500 years. How can he disappear when the reward he deserves for 500 agonizing years of effort is right before his eyes? All he remembers is suffering. The karma of the Mercuries. They were a great magical house driven from their homeland, wandering until reaching this land in the Orient. Then they were unable to assimilate to this land's laws and fell into decline. But that wasn't true. There would have still been hope if that was the case. If that is why their bloodline died out, they might have gracefully accepted their demise. I don't want to die. But the truth was different. It isn't that the land of Japan was unsuitable. An external factor like that wouldn't have ended the Mercuries. They simply lost their way. It has been 300 years since the ancestral Mercury seekers. In those 300 years, they reached the limits of their lineage. The Mercury mages were already in decline by Zouken's generation. That is when the suffering began, and the old man had no choice but to deny it. Zouken Matou's life was spent desperately trying to overcome the decline of the Mercury bloodline. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. Yes, I must not die. Damn this rotting body. It's painful, so painful, too painful. 500 years of pain. My whole life has been pain. Why fault me for seeking eternity? I suffered and suffered, never fulfilled. How can I disappear without leaving anything behind? How can I die in agony? The Holy Grail is open before me, so listen to my wish. Ask and I shall answer. My wish that I don't want to die. I need to get there. My wish will come true if I climb that cliff. It'll grant my wish, but I can't reach it with this body. It's so far away. These last 5 centuries have been for nothing. It's so far away. Why, oh, why is it so far away? He crawls, scattering and splattering his body. What obsession. He can't move. No, he shouldn't even have the ability to move, but his hatred drives it forward. He has now an obsessive idea become a monster. He doesn't hear the collapse. He only sees the Holy Grail as it moves forward. And then his misshapen form sees... Illya? Someone with a beautiful bell-like voice speaks to him.
Nani?
He looks up. Oh. In Heaven's Feel, in the middle of his wavering vision, stands a lone girl. He stops. He stares at her. The old mage does not see a girl. He sees a woman from his distant memories. The golden Einsburn woman who has never faded from his mind to this day. 200 years ago. She was his comrade, the Cup of Heaven who sacrificed herself to build the Greater Grail. She hasn't changed at all since that day. The woman of the Holy Grail looks at him with the same eyes as when he still burned with passion.
とう、我が旧敵よ。汝はなぜ死にたくないと思ったのか。
She speaks just once in a nostalgic voice. Her question halts his thoughts of suffering. Why? 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 It's strange now that one asks. Why did he not want to die? Why couldn't he die? He would be free from suffering and death, so for what purpose did he cling to life and suffering? He remembers. Yes, he had a noble goal at first. He would acquire all of creation. He would know all truths, and reach lands nobody else could. He would surpass the limits of the flesh and reach the limitlessness of the soul. The human race. He would let those saddled with limits from birth and forced to run circles within the spiral of their brains go outside, to heal all hatred and suffering. He remembers. It was after the grief of learning that paradise did not exist. He excitedly decided that if it did not exist in this world and he was not allowed to create it while in a flesh body, he would travel to a place where it was allowed. Not to create a new world, but to turn himself, to turn the life called humanity into something new. That's right. To go to the sky he always looked up at and beyond. He would be born anew in a place no one could imagine, and arrive at a utopia we cannot visualize. For that cause, he sought the Holy Grail. He sought a miracle beyond human reach. He couldn't disappear until he attained it. He knew he would suffer defeat and he would not retain it in this body, but he never gave up as long as he lived. Yes, he had just one dream. The abolition of all the evil in the world. We staked our lives on an impossible utopia. So he stayed behind. After his enemies left, he kept searching, even as he knew it was pointless. He believed that living itself had purpose, and knew that one day he would create someone to succeed him. So he kept on living. It was suffering, but he couldn't let himself die. Even when he remade himself, he never overcame the laments of his youth. Was that not his way of life, and the answer he arrived at? Yes. Even if it lies beyond this life, even if he isn't rewarded. That was his first wish. That agony. How meager his wish to not die was compared to his quest for an impossible dream.
そうか。そうであったな。ユスティツァイ。
He looks up at the world. The cavern is already halfway to total collapse. Sakura Matou has been liberated and taken from this world. I'll remind you, the birthed, completely flawed embodiment of the third magic is flickering like a heat haze. Finally, the old mage accepts that he will never reach any of it.
終わりか。我が宿願も我が苦痛もマキリの使命もこんなところで終わるのだな。
It was decided from the very beginning. Wherever the Makiri's voyage ended would be their final resting place. And yet, the end of their long suffering was not a wretched conclusion at all. It has only just begun. Their challenges and journeys have just begun. 500 years is a trifle. Far too short a time to accomplish anything. What we desired was brilliant and precious, to be attained in the far future. The maturation of humanity, whether it takes thousands or tens of thousands of years. So this is but a trifling setback at the start of the journey, albeit a meaningful one. Their wish is not over. The journey begins now. The history of their long, long journey to reach the great, great beyond begins its loop with the end of the dream.
だが無念よ。いや、あと一歩だったのだがな。
The words of resignation belong to the old mage after all. No matter how brilliant his objective, he is a fiend who approves of wicked deeds. He never overcame that trait even at the end, and cut his obsession with life. The last one disappears. One of the mages sought a miracle. An observer who was there at the very beginning crumbles away.
504年。思えば瞬きほどの宿願であった。
The lump of meat is swallowed by the rubble, leaving no trace. He was a creature which lived while transforming. The old mage completely disappears from the world, along with the fall of his long-sought wish. Good riddance. Bugman completely exterminated. Good to know. Anyway, back to this fight, right? Yup. His palm slams into me. That doesn't change, no matter how my body has changed. His attack, aimed at doing internal rather than external damage, ruthlessly sends shockwaves through me. The battle is overwhelming. The enemy dodges, repels, and traps my fists, all while making me eat all of his attacks. Pure white mangles my vision every time Kotomine's fists clang off my body. It isn't the damage from his attacks, but from the pain of my left arm repairing and overwriting my injured body. I protect my head. My face alone hasn't turned to steel yet. This could end with a single blow to my head. I can't hit him with my fists, so I use both arms to protect my head. My sense of pain is long gone. My eyesight is about to blink out too. The pain transmitted to my brain comes only from the left arm's invasion of my body. His bloody fists pulverize every square centimeter of my frame. I work my left arm to try and repair it, and everything goes white. Images and memories become irretrievably white. It hurts even to think now. I sprout blades to protect my destroyed body from dying. In exchange, my brain is shaved away. Which of us will end first? His fists and bones are broken. He endures it, his face twisted in pain, and continues striking me. I dodge the blows and attack with my right fist. It gets blocked. There's a simultaneous impact to my left armpit. I endure the blade stabbing my brain and attack again. I can still move. I can't move anymore. This is the... That hurt. That one got me. My body shouldn't be able to feel pain anymore, but I nearly weep at the pain throughout my body. I'm flung back, crashing into a fallen boulder, and barely stop myself from going over the cliff. Can't stand. If the impact hurt this bad, then the pain to my brain trying to remake my body would be unimaginable. It's over. In one more second, I'll give in to the pain and burn out, and I won't be able to think anymore. If I sleep before then, if I close my eyes, it...
終わったか。
では頭を潰す。
The enemy walks over. He can't run anymore either. It wouldn't surprise me if we both disappeared 1 minute from now. Then, I'm... You swore an oath. You swore to protect someone. Live. She said that both of us were needed to save her. You lost something. You lost something for that purpose. The enemy approaches. He drags his feet toward me to crush my head. Like hell. I won't lose. This man doesn't have a goal. He's just living the only way he knows how. But I have it. I have a goal. I have a good reason to kick his ass and win. I don't know how long I made her cry. Been crying in a place I don't know. She always cried alone and only ever smiled in front of me. That's right. So I have to protect her. I'll protect from the sins she committed, the sins blaming her, and the sins she remembers. The girl who could only smile in front of me. The girl who said she'd protect me, in a body with no future. I want to help her smile happily one day, even when I'm not around. And you're in the way of that. Fuck off. Sakura will never smile again as long as you're alive. One blow. The enemy comes to crush my head and I punch his face with all my might. Two blows. 3 blows. 4 blows. 5 blows. 6 blows. 7 blows. I punch, 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 punch. This is the end. If I let him go, there's no future. I need to put everything I have left into this miracle. This chance. I'm flung back. He easily ducks my suicidal punch and makes me pay hard for it. Damn it, that's right. He won't let me hit him that easily, and he's many times stronger than me. So of course he'll parry my attacks effortlessly and come to finish me off. Yeah, so what? I can't overcome the difference in fighting strength. Life isn't that easy. The enemy knocks me to the ground and comes to crush my head. I'll lose. I'll lose. I'll lose. I'll lose. That much is self-evident. But I can still move my body. The enemy's shadow looms over me, blocking my path. And then I take my disobedient legs. Yeah, my right leg won't even budge, and ignite them into motion. It's not going to end here. I can't dodge the enemy's attack with these legs. Death is a second away. I dodge it as best as I can. The man in front of me stops. His extended fist not quite reaching my face.
ここまでか。単純に時間の差が出るとはな。
He looks down at his own chest. The dark-stained area where his heart should be. A difference in time. He must have started dying just slightly before me in the forest.
お前の勝ちだ、エミヤシロ。その体で何秒持つかは知らんが、目的があるのなら急ぐがいい。
He's just like before when I first met him in the church. He talks about everything like it doesn't matter to him.
ことにね。
お前が最後のマスターだ。聖杯を前にし、その望みを果たすがいい。
The final master. His words carry a profound weight, but he says them in his usual unchanging tone. Of course he does. He'll never change, even in his last moments. He's still my detestable enemy, even as he crumbles away.
ああ、散々痛めつけてくれたお礼だ。容赦なく あんたの願いを壊してくる。
Did he laugh at the end? My nearly scrap metal eyes are useless. This time the priest really does leave this awful world. No one mourns him. I breathe, taking in just enough oxygen to move. I can only move my throat once. I don't feel happiness or suffering. My 5 senses have already turned to iron. No matter how hard I tried, my mind failed to stay intact. Time to go. One last job. I unseal my left arm. My consciousness is almost gone. One last projection. I'll make the strongest sword I know and destroy the entire Greater Grail, and this curse. This is the absolute end. No, it's not okay. If I use this, there's no going back. I already know that I'm going to disappear. Still, as long as I have my life, I need to find another way. I made a promise to protect Sakura from everything. I can't allow my life to be snuffed out so easily. I want Sakura to live. I want to live with Sakura. So, I still... But there's no other way. Sakura sins. Destroying this curse is the absolute condition to let her be happy. My mind is down to a few grains of sand. Sakura,
投影開始。
will keep my... a sword in my hand. With body, can't last.
シロは死なないよ。だってこの門を閉じるのは私だから。
Illya. That's... someone's voice. I can't remember her name. I say her name even though I can't remember it. I feel that I have to say it. If I don't, we'll never come home.
ねえ、シロは生きたい？どんな命になっても、どんな形になっても、シロはまだ生きていたい？
I want to live. What's her name? I have to say her name and stop her. But I want to live. I know it will disappear if I nod. What's her name? I wish from the bottom of my heart to live.
よかった。私もそうしたかった。私よりシロにこれからを生きて欲しかったから。
What are you talking about, idiot? Just come back. If you go any further, you won't be able to. I'll take that thing down with me, so damn it, what's your name? I have to remember your name. It's precious, I'm turning so dumb. Your name.
じゃあ、奇跡を見せてあげる。前に見せた遠見の応用だけど、今度のはすごいんだよ。なんて言ったって、みんなが見たがってた魔法なんだから。
Don't do it. You don't have to show me, just come back.
けど、器だけは安物かな。使えるのは私の体しかないから、完全に再現はできないの。けど大丈夫。リンと一緒に試行錯誤すれば、すぐに元通りにしてもらえるわ。
She moves into the middle. Someone in a white dress becomes a sacrificial key and closes the Greater Grail, just like the very first ritual.
じゃあね。私とシローは血がつながっていないけど、シローと兄弟で本当によかった。
Yeah. Don't go. If you care about me, don't go. I can't sacrifice you. I said we'd live together, that I'd make up for all the time you spent alone. But if someone's going to be a sacrifice, then it should be.
言ったよね。兄貴は妹を守るもんなんだって。ええ、私はお姉ちゃんだもん。なら弟を守らなくっちゃ。
Oh.
リリ
I remember. Her name. Kiritsugu's real blood relative. The little girl whom I replaced, leaving her all alone. She's a girl with red eyes and silver hair. A little older than me.
イリアイリアイリアイリアイリア
Gonna have to give me a second here. Alright. I can't reach her. She can't hear my voice. I'm bathed in light and I can't see. At the end, she... She said goodbye, smiled and shut the door to the Greater Grail. The sage cries out, "Open gates of heaven. Bless us and bestow miracles upon us." Sage cries out, "Close gates." Fucking... I can't read all that. Okay, well, I'm not going to read it out loud then. I see the sky. For just a moment I lift my arm up and reach into the sky. But nothing is left. There isn't a single bit of power left in this body. I'm sinking. The life she saved is sinking. I clench my fists in frustration. There's cold pain in the palm of my hand. It awakens my sinking mind.
大丈夫。リンが助けてくれるから。
Yeah. There's a tiny miracle in the palm of my hand. One breath of magical energy. It's completely useless. But the small pendant will make sure that someone saves me if I reach out with my hand. I reach out. I feel soft air and warm sunshine on my skin. My hand takes hold of the endless sky. Oh, that last bit with Illya really fucking got me. Oh my god. Yeah, why is it both times that I've cried it's with Illya? Oh, man. I guess it's like Illya that much, huh? Oh, fuck. I'm always a sucker for that shit, I swear. It hurts, but it feels so fucking good, too. Let's see how it all ends.
疲れた。
Oh, that's Rin. Thump. I set my travel bag overstuffed with gifts on the ground and stretch out for a few seconds. The sky today is crystal clear, and the spring sunshine feels great, no question. Yeah, it's bright for my eyes that I got used to the interior of the plane, but it's a small price to pay considering I just got back from a long trip.
あ、ベールでなくなってる。代わりに映画館なんてできたんだ。しばらく見ないうちに変わったな。
I look out at the town while loosening my shoulders. The trip from London to this provincial Japanese city took 25 hours. I feel cramped after being stuffed into an airplane seat for that long. My butt hurts and I even bumped my head on the ceiling when we landed.
エコノミーどころの話じゃないわよね。せめてまっとうな旅行会社を使えばよかった。
Of course we're trying to save money. Moral of the story, don't cheap out on long-haul travel. Even if I'm strapped for cash and my rival for class leader, Luvia Geliata, goes...
あら、ミストーサカ。お金に困っているのなら、私好きのメイドにしてあげてもよろしくてよ。4番街のしみったれた悪趣味カフェのウェイトレス1年分の月給は保証しますわ。ああ、そう。言っておきますけど、割と本気ですから。明日朝一で編入届を出してきなさいね。
It wouldn't do to be a cheapskate when returning to my home country. Yeah, I'll make sure to do that next time. I have a round-trip ticket, so I'll put up with that rundown jet one last time on the way back.
バスは20分待ちか。まあ、面倒だし歩いていこう。
I heave my backpack with both hands and start walking. It's an hour's walk to the house. It'll take a while, but I still have plenty of time until we're supposed to meet, so this is perfect.
懐かしいな。海沿いの風だ。
I narrow my eyes against the wind, listening to the cars go by. Yeah, I'm home. In the year I've been gone, my hometown looks kinda different, but it hasn't changed at all. I react to the mundane, formerly familiar scenery of my town with alternating boredom and surprise while I walk the path home. This is my first annual visit home since I left to study in London. Just walking through the town after a year makes me happy, and it feels fun for no reason. Though the mood is slightly spoiled by my stupidly heavy bag.
Yosh. まあ、こんなんで OK かな。
I take a shower and check myself in the mirror to make sure nothing's wrong. I'm not really doing it for anyone's benefit, but it just feels right to pay a little attention to my looks after being gone for a whole year. Okay, maybe there's one person who would side-eye me if I didn't, but I'll ignore it for today. The house is prettier than I remember, and I don't spot a single speck of dust. Sakura might still be cleaning it from time to time. I appreciate that. I do, but...
あの子、変なことにここを使ってないわよね。なんか記憶にないシャンプーがあったんだけど。
Shampoo belongs in the bath, not in the library, not in the kitchen, not at the front door, not in the garden. Well, it's nothing to worry about, really, but it's still pretty suggestive.
もう3時じゃない。ああ、もう2時間も何してたんだ私。
I dash to the front door, trying on my pumps for a change, decided to tacky, and run out the door in my normal shoes. We're supposed to meet at 4 o'clock. I was hoping to get there early and scout out the enemy, but now that I'm at a disadvantage with my messed up hair. It's regrettable, but I'll have to challenge them head on. It's a sentimental moment in a lot of ways, but now that I'm here, I rid myself of distracting thoughts and want to head inside as soon as possible. I go through the front gate and walk up to the house door. Then I ring the doorbell. It makes a silly ding-dong, and the door rattles open. Oh. Wow. What's the surprise, you ask? Ryder just answered the door in regular clothes.
ただいま。ちょっと早いけど帰ってきたわ。
I do wonder how Ryder is still here. I mean, she was the only surviving servant.
さくらはいる？ライダー。
ええ。さくらは部屋で、タイガは居間で待っています。
藤村先生もいるんだ。で、春休みだから当然か。ほんじゃ、お邪魔します。とりあえず。
はい。私はさくらを呼んできます。
I go into the hallway. On the way into the living room, I steal a glance at Ryder. Should I call this a well-laid ambush? I know she was a beauty cursed by the gods, but it really stands out when she's dressed in normal clothes. To be frank, she's supermodel tier. When a woman thinks another woman is beautiful, she really means it. I met a lot of pretty women overseas, but I haven't come across anyone on Ryder's level yet. She's more than human though, so it makes sense, I guess. Anyway, she's a legitimate servant. If a Yulfist mage saw her, they'd have to take 3 days off from work, and if you told them she's a familiar, they'd lock themselves in their atelier for a whole month.
リン、私に話があるのですか？
そうね。あれから調子はどう？少しは今の状態に慣れた？
そうですね。2年前に比べれば安定しています。リンがいなくなってからは不安定でしたが、1月ほど前から安定しだしました。さくらもコツをつかんだようです。
そう。まあライダーとさくらは相性がいいから心配はしてなかったけど、さくらに黙って血なんて取ってないでしょうね。
So what, it's been 2 years since the end of the path? I'm not really scolding her. She can drink if she wants to, but I worry about whether she's following up properly.
それこそ心配無用です。さくらに知られるような真似は決して。
That's a weird way to answer it, but I'll let it slide if she isn't causing any trouble. It's just my bad habit as a mage. A familiar like Ryder is way too valuable, so I pretend to overlook some mischief.
それではまた。リンには相談事もありますので、夜に時間を作っていただけますか？
So, I take it Ryder is still a servant, but she's just feasting on magical energy to remain in the world, but not an amount that would, like, kill people.
内緒話ならここじゃなくてうちでしましょう。今夜はこっちに泊まるから明日の夜でいい？
Ryder nods quietly and leaves for Sakura's room. But then she pauses.
お帰りなさい、リン。
ありがとう。留守中苦労かけたわね、ライダー。
She smiles back at me and goes off to the tatami room. Wow, she really is beautiful.
いらっしゃい、遠坂さん。元気そうで何よりね。はい、お邪魔します。藤村先生もお変わりないようで安心しました。今日は部活動お休みですか？
今日は遠坂さんが来るって聞いてたからずる休み。ま、今年の首相はしっかりしてるし、今日は新入生対策の会議だから問題ないわ。
新入生対策？部員減ったんですか？弓道部。
増えたよ。ほら、去年はさくらちゃんが首相になってたでしょ。それで男の子は増えたんだけど、女の子が定員に届いてないのよ。
Understandable.
で、遠坂さんは卒業したから知らないか。ま、今年はかっこいい男の子が首相だから、うまく立ち回ればどっさり入ってくるだろうけどね。
はあ、かっこいい男の子って誰です？
三辻さんの弟さん。これがまあ、姉さんとは正反対の小心者なのよ。部活紹介でステージになんて立ったら金縛りに合うわね、絶対。
Doesn't that mean you picked the wrong person to lead? Well, Kyoto has a pretty strict image, so girls might go for something with a softer appeal. But still, Ayako's brother, huh? Never even knew she had a brother.
それであっちの暮らしはどうなの？日本人だからっていじめられてない？ほら、美大の子ってライバル心だけで友人関係成立してるじゃない？
藤村先生、それは偏見です。 芸術を信奉する人間
Oh,
に
so
そのよう
she's
な
a
要求さはありません。
quote-unquote art student.
怒られちゃった。
I can't bring myself to tell her that they only care about themselves. On top of that, my department would crank her anxiety up to 100, so I won't bring it up. Then, I see Miss Fujimura giving me a meaningful grin.
なんでしょう、藤村先生。
東坂さん綺麗になったなって、一皮むけたっていうか、大人になったっていうか、向こうでいい人でもできた？
Anyone nice? Why do girls always end up talking about this stuff? She's weirdly perceptive.
なんか手応えあり。どうなのよ、花のロンドンでしょ。こうパーッと出会った瞬間に謎の組織に追われて手をつないで大脱走。残り10分あたりでロンドン街が炎上してキスしてお別れとかしちゃってたら承知しないぞ。
Kind of a grim ending there, no?
いえ、別にそういうことはないです。
じゃあいい話は一切なし？
そういうわけではないんですが、まあできそうというかできないというか。
We know who she's talking about. I can't help but give a half-hearted answer. I've accepted some invitations of that kind, and I would like to have a research partner soon. But I just can't get serious about any of them. When I try dating a guy, my thoughts always go to some other idiot and I can't concentrate. Every day I've been racking my brain about it. I hate to admit it, but I might actually be head over heels for him. No. No way. Can't be. Nuh-uh.
あ、さくらちゃん。
I jolt upright in my seat. Oh, look at Sakura. Sakura looks confused. Wow, she hasn't changed at all.
はい、元気だった、さくら。
Sakura nods. Her face lights up.
おかえりなさい、姉さん。元気そうで嬉しいです。
And she celebrates my return with a radiant smile. We spend an hour together. We trade stories about things that happened in the year I've been gone and happily chit-chat about silly things.
そっか、さくらもう卒業したんだね。それで進路はど
So
う
yeah,
す
they're
る
all
の？
out of high school at this
うちに
point.
来るなら私から紹介状でっち上げるけど。そうですね。嬉しいけど遠慮しておきます。今はこっちでやることがあるし、勉強なら見てくれる人がいますから。
Though?
手紙にあった綺麗な後
Oh,
が
Kirei's replacement.
まあ人のいいじいさんみたいだし、うちに来るよりは
Right,
マシ
I
だろう
forgot
け
that
ど。
Kirei gets replaced. It happens every path. Some old man we know nothing. Well, apparently he's a good person, so.
たまには外に出て
Don't
冒
dig into it
険し
too
てみ
much,
な
I
いと
guess.
ダメになるわよ。ただでさえあんたは怠け性なんだから、教師は生きのいいのじゃないと。それなら大丈夫です。代打すごく厳しいから。ちょっと怠けるとですね、すっごく怖い顔するんです。
Good to see riders keeping her on the straight and narrow.
ああ、いや、そりゃ怖いでしょう、彼女の本気は。
She's got mystic eyes of petrification after all. If she got seriously angry and used her power, it wouldn't stop at just her clothes. Wait. Miss Fujimura looks a little down.
藤村先生。
あ、何？ごめんなさい、聞いてなかった。
いえ、そういうのではないのですが、急に黙り込んでしまったから気になって。
あ、うん、ちょっとね。さくらちゃんと東坂さんを見てるとシローのことを思い出しちゃって。今いればすごくラッキーなのに、あの子ったら肝心なところで損してるんだから。ああ、帰り遅いよね、シロー。いつになったら帰ってくるのかな。
Miss Fujimura holds her cup of tea, staring out the window. Her eyes look distant. She gazes out at the pleasantly cloudless blue sky.
あ、あれ、なんか変な雰囲気になっちゃったわね。私のせいかなとか。
そんなことないですよ。 藤村先生が先輩の話をしてくれるのは嬉しいです。
ダメよさくらちゃん。さくらちゃんにとってシュローはもう先輩でも何でもないんだから。まあそれはともかく、急に体を動かしたくなったから道場で素振りでもしてくるわ。
Miss Fujimura excuses herself. Maybe she's trying to be polite. Now then. I'm happy she's being considerate, but it's going to be hard to make small talk now.
まあいいか。こっちまで気を使うことないものね。聞いておくべきことは聞いておかないと。で、さくら、あんたの方はどうなのよ。あれから2年、なんとかやっていけそう？はい、少しずつですけど、いろいろなことを素直に受け止められるようになりました。罪の意識で潰されるのは逃げなんだって。私は私のできることをして少しずつ頑張っていこうと思います。そっか、ちょっと見てきたけど街も完全に元通りだものね。2年前の傷跡は消えていて、おかしな事件ももう起こらない。私の役目をさくらに押し付けて教会に行っちゃったけど、それはそれでよかったってことか。はい、姉さんの代わりは大変でした。おかげでこの1年間ずっと強くなれた気がします。
She must mean mentally, not magically. Yeah, it's better for people to act than sit on their worries.
けど、そういう姉さんはどうなんですか？なんかいろいろゴタゴタしてたって聞いてますけど。私？ゴタゴタしてたって言えばしてたけど。
Where do I even begin? Looking back, it all started 2 years ago. The Holy Grail War. 2 years have passed since Sakura and I got involved in the war. The Greater Grail collapsed and the foundation of the Holy Grail War disappeared. The quest for the Holy Grail in this land was sealed off and Fuyuki finally returned to peace. It did, but not for me. The string of incidents happened on Mage territory. The land of Fuyuki belongs to the Tohsakas, but that's only with the approval of the association, so it doesn't completely belong to us. It's a cardinal rule of the Mages Association to keep all mystics hidden, and we shattered it. First, the collateral damage of the Holy Grail War was enormous. Second, the master sent by the association was assassinated. And to top it off, the association detected a swirl of the root. Well, the first two were Kirei's responsibility, and he was the overseer sent by the association, so we had that excuse. But we couldn't do anything about the third problem. The Holy Grail caused a gate to appear. Rituals concerning the root are under the purview of the Mages Association. From their point of view, we basically committed a war crime. One day, something resembling a swirl of the root was suddenly detected in the far east, and while they were being happy and surprised, it vanished just as suddenly. The people in charge were plenty pissed that a gate was opened, but they really wanted to tear us a new one for letting it close after it succeeded. And so, while I was struggling with the mop-up, they brought me to the heart of the association in London, England. That's how I stood trial in a meeting room housing about 300 people. They told me how the lords of each department would come, how stray mages come to pick up the pieces of the Tohsakas after my sentencing, and so on. Bit of a dog and pony show, if you ask me.
私もここまでか。こうなったら教会と反目している中東圏に逃げ込むか、日本で徹底抗戦だ。
That's what I was ready to do, and when I was readying my escape, I learned that God giveth just as he taketh away. At Rin Tohsaka's indictment hearing,
いや、弟子の不始末は私の責任でもある。
An old man just a little more senior than the people in charge showed up for the first time in centuries and cleared me of all charges. Of course, he didn't take any punishment on my behalf. The world of mages operates on equivalent exchange, give and take. And the old man said, of all things,
よかろう。では弟子を取ることにする。享受するのは3人までだ。各部門協議の末、見込みのあるものを選出せよ。
He dropped another bombshell. I mean, a missing magician appeared and said he would take apprentices. The conference was in chaos. They stopped caring about an insignificant bug like me, went scrambling for days and nights to select candidates. It was a huge commotion. Then the old man turned to me while I was standing there awestruck and said,
というのはお前の国の言葉だったな。
トサカは最も目のない教え子だったが、わずか6代でたどり着くとは。
Graced me without remark.
何のことでしょう、大師父。
I asked timidly. After all, I thought he would kill me if he noticed me. Magicians don't leak their magic to other people. My instincts told me that they would ruthlessly eliminate those who approached their miracles. But you should never underestimate your enemy. The gemstone grandpa patted me on the head and complimented me.
連中を利用してやれ。ここは窮屈な場所だが、道具だけは揃っておる。
As expected of the Grandmaster. Being someone who travels to all kinds of parallel worlds, he's open-minded. Yeah. To tell the truth, I can recreate the jeweled sword. I understood the blueprints and the theory during that battle, so if I have enough time and resources, I can make an imitation of magic. Still, I'd need serious funds to pull it off. It's more than I could gather in a year or two. No, a decade or two. And that's how I got off scot-free. I even got a free ride to the clock tower to top it off. After I graduated high school, I made Sakura the administrator of Fuyuki and promptly left for London. It's been a year since then. Life at the clock tower has been an ordeal, but like Sakura, I'm very slowly expanding my own territory.
そうですか。それで姉さん、エミヤの家、先輩のことは問題になってないわ。報告にはあげてないし、キレイも巻き込まれて死亡した一般人としか記録してなかった。幸か不幸か、あいつのことを知っているのは私とあなただけってこと。
The mood's a little heavy. After the battle, I survived thanks to Ryder carrying me and Sakura to the surface. Ryder took me back to the Tohsaka house where I replenished my magical energy. As long as I have magical energy, the Tohsaka magic crest will keep me alive whether I like it or not. I couldn't eat for a while, but I recovered quickly. Sakura had to deal with the after effects of being connected to Aramayu, and, well, she was hopeless for a while once he was gone. She didn't panic, nor did she brood. She kept pretending everything was fine, like he would come home someday. To be honest, it would have been easier for me to treat her if she'd snapped instead. But it's all in the past now. Life has slowly changed over the days and months. Sakura graduated and said she'd stay in Fuyuki for a while. I'm going to use up all my vacation time here. I have to go back to London in a week. What did I expect when I came back to this house? For a year. No, for 2 years, so much has happened here. My memory goes back a year, but I actually spent a lot of time here before I graduated. Is that why? Did I think that if I turned to look at the kitchen, he'd be standing there holding a kitchen knife with a bored expression? The rookie mage who got caught up in the Holy Grail War. He fought to the very end and won, and for his trouble.
ただいま。いや、悪い悪い。一世から檀家のお供え物を分けてもらってたら遅くなっちまった。
You fucking had me going there for a while, Ren. Fucking hell. He ended up looking totally fine. Fuck you, Rin. Come on. Shiro comes into the living room carrying a veritable mountain of shopping bags. Of course. Our eyes meet.
よ、相変わらず元気そうだな、そっちは。
Oh no, I'm gonna laugh. It's obvious that he took a deep breath in the hallway and is trying his best to play it cool.
久しぶりね。相変わらず抜けてるみたいじゃない、そっちは。
Wait, why am I saying the same thing back to him? Now Sakura's giggling at both of us.
先輩、無理して強がってると余計姉さんに笑われますよ。まあ、姉さんも同じように意地を張ってるからおあいこですけど。
She's got a solid read on both of them. Now she's saying something scary.
別に無理なんてしてない。トサカは家族なんだから、うちにいるのは当たり前だろ。何も特別なことなんてない。
Still, he came in holding a massive amount of groceries. Good grief. Why'd you buy so much? We can't finish it all, dummy.
そうね。緊張して損しちゃった。こいつ何にも変わってないし。はい。先輩は何にも変わってません。
Oh, he's making that face that says he's got something to say, but decides not to bother.
言ってろ。それより登坂、今晩は飯食っていくんだろ？
ええ、泊まる気満々だけど。
そっか。じゃあ休んでろ。長旅で疲れただろう。晩飯はこっちで片付けるから、さくらとお茶飲んで待ってろよ。積もる話もあるだろうしな。
He goes to the kitchen and puts on an apron. It's the place he's always been for the last year. No, half year to be exact. A sight burned into my memory.
ありがとう。お言葉に甘えるわ。
そうしろそうしろ。あ、それとおかえり登坂。ちっとも心配してなかったけど、いつも通りで安心した。
ええ、ただいまエミヤ君。そっちもいつも通りで嬉しいわ。
Then the master of the house briskly prepares dinner for a freeloader. Well then, I guess I'll look forward to seeing how much he's recovered in the last year.
調子良さそうじゃない。一時はどうなることかと思ったけど、あれなら相手が誰であろうとバレないかな。学校の方は問題なし？はい、おかげさまで一緒に卒業できました。
Oh, I guess he only needed to stay back 1 year. I guess from recovery. Alright. Then I probably don't need to step in anymore. Sakura never needed my help to begin with, but hopefully I was helpful in filing a leave of absence with the school and smoothing things over with Miss Fujimura. And if you want to know why he's alive, it was only possible through magic. Shiro Emiya's body was completely destroyed. His magic circuits were thoroughly wrecked by Archer's arm invading his body and projecting past his limits. It was a death beyond even the power of the Holy Grail to heal. The reason he's so hale and hearty now is because the Shiro standing there is a copy. No, that's not accurate either. Shiro's body died. That Holy Grail couldn't have resurrected his dead body. All the Lesser Grail, all Illya could do, was a mystic called the Third Magic. She used that to revive his soul somehow. She brought him back and gave him an undamaged vessel. You might think that sounds crazy, but that's the third magic for you. I'm not talking about transferring a spiritual body or mind alone into someone else's brain and controlling it. When a soul materialized by the third magic gains a body with human functions, it can completely remake it in the soul's image. Not the DNA of the flesh, but of the soul, apparently. Illya resurrected Shiro Emiya by reviving his soul and placing it in a raw body that hadn't become anything yet. But it was an incomplete body, so Ilya's third magic wasn't on the same level as the original, I think. A few days after the cavern collapsed, Ryder found Shiro looking a little bit different than he used to. Okay, she didn't find him so much as she plucked or maybe pinched him from the rubble. It was a shock at first, to be sure, and it left me wondering how it was even possible. But when I think about it, when Shiro's cooking in the kitchen, he's being remote controlled by his living soul, allowing him to interact with our world. Things like memories, the brain, and magic circuits aren't actually located in the body, but the soul, meaning that the vessel is no more than a motor function terminal, while the control system sits safely untouchable on the other side. Still, the first 6 months were repeated trial and error. He isn't a plant that'll grow if you water it, nor are there any blueprints for him like a homunculus would have. In the end, we sold the entire Matou library to the association and bought a body that a renowned puppet master had left behind, getting him to where he is now. I still hope this doesn't give you the wrong idea. Shiro's just as human as we are. He can get surgery at the hospital, medication works on him, and he'll die if he's killed. When a body is imbued with a soul, it enters a fixed state in exchange for recreating that soul. In other words, he's like a servant that can operate without a master. The only difference is that he's living in this era. He'll grow, he'll go to heaven when he dies, and he'll make us delicious food. He's the same Shiro Emiya I've always known.
でも元は中古だしな。何人か腕のいい人形師を当たってみたんだけど、今の素体よりいい出物はなかったわ。あの素体を作ったっていう人にお願いしようともしたけど、その人封印指定を受けて教会から逃げ出したんだって。見つけるのは骨でしょうね。そうですか。けど先輩は今のままで問題ないって言ってますよ。魔力の通りが悪いだけで、あとは前よりいいくらいだって。私もそう思います。
No matter how good the body is, it'll be overwritten by its soul. So there might be parts that don't work as well. I don't think it would exceed the original's performance, though.
ちょっと待った。
What's Sakura blushing for?
さくら？そのですね。私もやりすぎかなって思うんですけど、私の体がまだその。あ。
That's what she meant. I heard that Sakura's body is still feeling the after effects of Onramayu. She may have severed her contract with Onramayu, but she's still a Holy Grail. In fact, she's still connected to the other side. That enormous magical energy floods Sakura's body, so she needs to vent it every once in a while to maintain her body. Without the Greater Grail, Ryder can remain in the world thanks to Sakura's magical energy. But that still isn't enough to use it up, so she must be giving the excess to Shiro. Shiro's current body has a few magic circuits. It's true that without Sakura's help, it might start to revert.
はあ、いろいろと込み入ってるのね、あなたたち。はい、前途多難です。
Although I'm sure it poses a lot of problems to living a normal life, Sakura's constitution gives her a huge advantage as a mage.
考えてみればすごいパーティーじゃない、私たち。
Shiro's a successful case of the third magic. He'll be able to master his reality marble with the proper training. Sakura can use a portion of the Holy Grail's powers. Ryder's just plain cheating. And I can more or less imitate the second magic. To be blunt, we're invincible. I want someone to start a Mages Association tournament. Do you think there would be prize money if we swooped in and took first place? An easy 500,000. Pounds, of course. I'm Japanese, so no tax, please. Crap, I'm actually considering it. Then I'll be truly free and all my dreams will come true. I'll use the funds to reforge the jeweled sword, say goodbye to that dreary place, and come back to this town. Then I'll be able to do this again.
まあ、無理か。人間地道が一番だし。
I give up on the idea completely. It sounds too easy, to be honest. I like my current life, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it changes. Besides, I can't stay away forever. I couldn't possibly live a peaceful life in this small, peaceful town with all these potential troublemakers around.
姉さん、なんか今邪悪な笑みをこぼしてましたけど。そう？勘がいいわね、さくら。
I stand up from my seat cushion. This is no time to laze around. I'm only here for 7 days. I'm not going to waste an important meal.
シロ、手伝うから今度貸して。英国仕込みの腕前見せてあげる。
I shoot down his objections. I start to grin, fantasizing about stealing the show entirely, and put on the apron they keep ready for me.
さて。
I roll my sleeves and go to the kitchen. But before that, I remember what I wanted to confirm the most when I came back home. It's been 2 years. I turned to my gentle grown-up sister.
さくら。
Oh, look at Rin.
幸せ？
She looks so pretty. Her full-faced smile is perfect in every way. That alone makes coming home worth it. And so I share in some of her happiness and look up at the blue sky. One day, winter ended and spring came. I noticed the cherry blossoms that cover everything outside, leaving no vestiges of those cold days. We've gained enough to balance out what we lost, and settled our accounts. So, our story in this town is over, but our story is just beginning. The credits will roll in the far, far future. For now, tomorrow's weather looks good, and my break has just begun. Let's embrace a new day, and a new future. In my mind, I see a vision of ourselves leisurely walking down the hill. Now, let's go see the flowers this year, just like we promised. So the winter went by and spring came along. Nature is in its full bloom and there's nothing left that reminds you of the hard, cold days. Stash away both what you lost and gained, for life continues on. Now then, the story that unraveled in this town has reached its conclusion. New stages and people are waiting for us. That's the end of Heaven's Feel. Wow. That was a really nice ending. You know, I will say that this path, ooh, I think this one might be my favorite. There were so many ups and downs on this one. And I also, like I said before, I find it really funny. This is the path where I teared up, like, pretty bad twice because of Illya. Still, I came close a lot of times on this one. Ooh, it was rough. But hey, it's over. And I gotta say, I'm a very, very big fan of happy endings. I just want to see characters I like being happy. that's pretty much it. And yeah, this is an ending I'm really happy with. So, I'm trying to think. Final thoughts on the game as a whole. This was fucking great. I am really glad that I finally was able to play this game. You know, as someone who's only been familiar with Fate mostly through FGO, getting to experience where the franchise started was a wonderful experience. And I gotta say, now that I have played this game, there are a couple characters in FGO that I want to level up. So that's gonna be fun to do too. So yeah, now that I've finished this, like I said, I'm gonna do the Tiger Dojos off screen and just see all the other stuff that I missed off screen too. But I think the next thing I'm going to tackle right after this, I'm going to jump into Hollow Ataraxia, because from what I hear, Hollow Ataraxia is a sequel to this. So I'm going to do that next, because I really want to see what lies in that one as well. Because I've seen like bits and pieces of it, and from what I've seen, it seems a bit more slice of life, which big fan of. So yeah, that's going to be what we do next here. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how that one plays out. But I guess I will close off things here. Thank you all so much for joining me on this adventure. It's been a great time. It's been a lot of fun. I know the episodes were really long, but I didn't really feel like cutting up the days into separate little parts, just because each one had that natural end point of the end of the day. So some episodes are a bit disproportionate in comparison to others, but I think that overall I do like how this came out a lot. So yeah, when next we meet, if you are interested in joining me for that as well, I will be playing through Hollow Ataraxia. So, once again, thank you all so much for joining me on this adventure. It's been a blast, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!